And we are live. What's good, Josh? Your man, Dale Saint. Welcome. How y'all doing? Happy Monday. All that good stuff. I really want to know podcast, man. Sorry I'm late, guys. Got caught up doing stuff. It's spring break, so the schedule's all disrupted. My daughter's home, so it's like stuff going on. Yeah, we're gonna do about it. Spring break. um, I'm just glad my daughter is still in high school, and we're not worrying about her going off to Daytona Beach or Miami or something crazy like that. So, hope you guys are doing well. Definitely want to looking forward to having this conversation, man. We're talking about um Louis Theroux's new Netflix documentary. I mean, it's keep it 100. It's a hit piece, guys. It's not. There's only one side of this story being told, right? And it's called Inside the Manosphere. Um, and I definitely want to talk about it. I was looking for different content creators, kind of looking at different reactions to this documentary, and I came up with a video I think we should watch. Um, and yeah, let's just get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. So, yeah, man, I definitely want to get into this. I want to talk about what's going on. Want to get, looking forward to getting you guys' take on everything that's going on. Um, let's see, I'm just doing the production stuff behind the scenes. I'm looking at it's just too much going on. One of these days we're gonna find some real success, and I'll be able to hire someone to actually push the buttons for me. Until then, I'm doing it myself. Um, but yeah, so Louis Theroux's a documentarian, I guess. He's a comedian, I think. I don't really know much about the dude, but he's definitely out there in the mainstream. Um, B-list celebrity, maybe A-lister in UK, I don't know. But he decided he wanted to go out and have a go, as they say, at the red pill community. Didn't talk to any guys really. Maybe it was two guys in the documentary he talked to about why they like a particular content creator. It was Justin Waller. Like, it was two guys who like really follow him, but they didn't talk to anyone within the space and just to figure out why men are drawn to the red pill, to the manosphere, the mano swamp, whatever you want to call it. They didn't talk about male issues. And the big thing for that, to be honest with you, is um it forces mainstream media to look at some unflattering facts about where we are as a society dating wise, and what women are looking for, and and all that kind of stuff. So in this documentary he went after uh Myron Gaines, Sneeko, went after Justin Waller, and there's this guy HS Tiki Taki's a guy out of London who is a kick streamer, Twitch guy, but he's making a ton of money off of young men. And when you look at that, like the bulk of the documentary is centered around this HS Tiki Taki dude who really isn't in the manosphere. He's not a red pill guy. Like, if you asked him, he would tell you, like, nah, he doesn't deal with that. This dude, this is a young guy out of UK, and he's just performing basically for these young kids and these younger dudes, and he's making a lot of money. He's making a lot of money. That's just, business is business. He makes no bones about it. He's like, bro, I don't care. Like, I'm here to make money. If I got to make that money by promoting OF women, or if I got to make that money by promoting some shady investment thing, then I mean, he's kind of like, that's what I'm gonna do. And and it is what it is. If you want freedom of, if you want to be a free person, that you're free to, follow people who are gonna, take your bread, lead you to ruin. You have to do your own due diligence. That's how I look at it. So, but the bulk of the documentary centers around HS Tiki Taki. And this Lewis guy, he really wanted to talk to Andrew Tate, but he couldn't get Tate. And he took a couple years to put this thing together. He sold this to Netflix. Netflix was all right, gave him a green light, gave him a bunch of money. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The documentary, I mean, it was lackluster. You could see what he was trying to do. Right? You can see where he failed. I mean, it's as simple as that. Now, there are a lot of bad actors on the Manosphere side and Red Pill world. A ton of bad actors over there. A ton, absolutely. But there are a ton of guys over there, a ton of men over there who are actually trying to help. Myron Gaines was also in this, you call him a target, right? In this documentary, which I don't understand why Myron even agreed to do it, to be honest with you. But Myron Gaines was in this. And you could tell again, this Lewis guy was looking for a certain angle, a certain story, and he wasn't quite able to get it because in Myron's case, like Myron had his team on lock. Like, yo, I'm not gonna let you just talk to anyone on my team to make me look bad, sort of thing. And this Louis Theroux guy was kind of like, I can't get what I'm trying to get. Myron brought him into the studio, which is where Myron lives. And that's Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit fame. You go into the studio and it's like, oh, you got this big condo, and like the whole thing is geared to the podcast. It's like, wow. It's like, yeah, that's what he does. He bought the condo, which is smart because he can write off probably 80, maybe more. At least 80% of that condo is a business expense. Myron only lives in one room. The rest of the condo, and it's a massive condo, is dedicated to studio space and common areas for guests to wait, like a green room and all this other kind of stuff. So that's a smart move. You know what I mean? We got Terus in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. And we got Dr. B in the building as well, man. What's happening, man? Like, and Dr. B has been in that studio. You go down like the Fresh and Fit, like both their studios, man. It's just dedicated to what they're doing. It's a business expense. So, but while he was kind of talking to Myron, they were kind of gearing up to, get back and forth with these questions. Angie, which was Myron's girlfriend at the time, she came in, and Lewis wanted to really focus on her, and we're gonna get into that as well. I found a content creator who was talking about this. The content creator he's called the Public Offender. YouTube has almost 100,000 subscribers, so very successful. Like, I'm here to tell you guys, man, like to get those kind of numbers, I mean, you putting in work. You putting in work. I thought you came in. I thought you came in that time when we had remember that boat party that we had all the VIPs. I thought you were there. You were in Miami because we were all hanging out. We all went to Moxie's and all that. I thought you came up. My bad. I thought you came up to the studio. My bad on that. But the public offender is talking about this, and this is what I want to react to. I want to react to this brother who you can tell when you listen to him, like he doesn't rock in the Manosphere, he doesn't rock in the Red Pill world. Most people don't. It's a small group. What people know about the Red Pill world is what they see in clips mostly. And it's one of those things, man. If that's not your thing, if that's not your niche, a lot of stuff that's being said, you want to either ignore it or you want to focus on the crazy stuff that's being said. And like I said, there's a lot of crazy stuff that gets said over there. A lot. So we're definitely going to get into that. Oh, he's like, oh, you had to be VIP, man. My bad. I thought you. My bad. I thought, you had to be VIP or pay that ticket. I remember, and yeah, back then I was, I was moving around. So, but we're gonna break down the public offenders take on this, and like I said, it's coming from a perspective that's outside looking in, and I'm coming from a perspective inside looking out, and my biggest takeaway from this documentary, obviously, it was a hit piece, one. But Netflix is a massive platform. It's like the number 2 platform on the planet. YouTube is the biggest, but I think Netflix is the biggest platform, that has with a paywall and all that. So massive reach. So this is out here. The people are going to be talking about it worldwide. And it's funny, depending on where you live on planet Earth, you look at this whole manosphere red pill thing differently. Like, when, you know, the red pill guys are talking about you need to work out and make money and, all that kind of stuff, places in the world like, yeah, you need to do that. When they talk about how, women in the West are more alpha and seem to be more man-like, and that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But a lot of women from other parts of the world are like, yeah, I don't want to do that. There's a lot of women from other parts of the world like, yeah, I want a husband that can make enough money to where I can stay home and watch the kids and do whatever I want to do at home. I would prefer that over going out and actually working. You got that as well. So it just depends on where you are on planet Earth. Like, America, Australia, UK, a lot of first world nations, it's very independent based. Like, we want to push the women to be independent. We want to push the women to be more alpha. Okay, that's fine. But understand, like, women, when it comes to dating, I don't know any women that are okay with taking care of a guy. I know women who do it because they got married or whatever. It just worked out. And the women who are cool with it know they got a good husband, they got a good relationship, and it doesn't matter. They're just doing their thing because their family comes first. But then you have women who get with the guy and then he's not working or he loses his job. And, it kind of changes the dynamic of the relationship. And this is the kind of conversations that go on within the manosphere. I'm one of the people who's like, look, just understand that these things happen. Be prepared. As a guy, you can have all the game in the world. You can be smooth and whatever, smooth talking and holler at women and smash women and all that. But when you're looking for a long-term relationship, you might have some problems. Like, it's just how it is. You might have some problems. And then Tarus, like, they made the brand. It's like everything else, Tarus. Like, the people who make money, like, you're gonna make money off of the wild stuff. How you get people in, right? You're gonna make a lot of noise. You want the fireworks going off. You want to say the crazy stuff to draw you in. So I would say, yeah. And then once you get in, when those questions go from being broad questions to very precise questions about an individual, what someone's got going on, the advice changes. Like, once you fall down the red pill rabbit hole, there's so many people down there. So you can see, like, the Fresh and Fist or whatever podcast, the Andrew Wilson types, but there are also the Michael Sertains, the Rich Coopers, the Orion Terabands. There's so many different people down there, and you have to sit back and figure out what works best for you. Like, what am I looking for here? If I got a problem with dating, I'm out here trying to smash women, and I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it. How should I run my rotation? How should I do this? There's some people you can talk to about that. If you're sitting there like, well, I'm married, I want to stay married, but I'm noticing there's some changes with my wife, and I don't know, like, the way she's acting. I think she might be planning to divorce me. What should I do? There's people that can help you with that, right? James Sexton and all those kind of things. Like, hey, did you get a prenup? No, okay, this is what you want to do. Run right away. Go out and get you an attorney. Start talking to some attorneys. Get the best one in town. Start getting your money right. Start doing these things, because this is what's probably going to happen. This is how it works when we get to the family court. So you can get those answers down there. And if you're a guy who's invisible, like, man, I just want to be seen by women. How do I get seen by women? And there are guys down there tell you that, like, all right, you definitely want to, get your body together, man. Get into the gym, start working out, work on your appearance, work on your hygiene. You're gonna have to go out and invest in yourself, man. Get your style together, get your clothes together, figure out, that sort of thing. Cologne is important. Learn how to walk up, understand that talking to women, bro, it's a numbers game. So you're gonna have to learn how to approach and say what you got to say, and then move on, learn how to break contact. So you got that. So you have guys who go from being invisible, no women ever see them, to learning some of these tactics and getting better, doing the work, improving. Now women see them. That brings up even more questions. Like, oh, now that they see me, what do I do? Where do I take her for a first date? How much money should I spend? She's asking me to pay for her Uber. Okay. She's asking me to pay for her hair and nails just for her to come out. She's asking me to pay for her to pick up the phone, to talk to me. And this guy's like, nah, don't do that. Right. So you get all these different answers. It just is, it's so many people, so many men involved in the manosphere or the mano swamp, as Rich Cooper calls it. There's so many people involved. You can find what you're looking for. Now, for the people who don't believe in this message, the people who are on the outside looking in, they're gonna latch on to any negativity they can find, and they're not gonna talk about what's driving men to this world. They're simply gonna talk about the bad stuff. Look at this HS Tiki Taki guy. Like, I barely knew who he was, to be honest with you. And I've been rocking in the manosphere for what, almost 5 years. I barely knew dude. The only reason I knew him is because Zerka attacked him in Miami once, and Tiki Taki was in a position to beat up Zerka, and he didn't. He didn't beat Zerka up, but he took command of the situation. He definitely put him down and held him down. Like, what are you doing? But that's the only reason I heard of the dude. Then I never heard of him, but I'm not in that young boys world. I'm not in that Twitch world, that kick world. I'm not over there. So, I mean, you definitely got that. So let's check out the public offender, and definitely go over and check out, like, subscribe, and share, and all that. But I chose this particular content creator because it was a couple other content creators I was looking at what they were saying, and it was just too far to the other side. Like, it was real. It was one woman, she called herself a feminist, and it was just real. It was crazy. The stuff that she was saying is like, man, I can't even really react to this because it's so extreme. She's the opposite of the extreme red pillars. So it's like, it's so extreme. And there was a couple others out there that were saying stuff, but this brother right here, I'm like, here's a guy that doesn't really know about what's going on the inside. But this is a dude who's, a grown ass man in America. So I bet you if he was to sit down with someone and talk about these things, he would agree with a lot that's being said over there. But I don't know if he's aware that there are guys in that space giving that type of advice or shining a light on these issues. So let's get into it, man. Let's check this out.
And Myron Gaines wrote a book called Why Women Deserve Less. His whole message is that women have been pampered and they are over, give them less and everything will go more smoothly. So
I just think that it's up for y'all to deliberately seek those women out and then base your worldview of women on the interactions you're having with this very small subset of women. It is utterly ridiculous.
Quote, the findings consistently demonstrate that male victimhood beliefs are driven by perceived privilege loss rather than objective economic hardship, end quote.
And Red Pill kind of teaches, or some of these guys teach you that mental health is not real. Like, man up, right? You got this.
I just watched Inside the Manosphere, and I was expecting to see a whole bunch of Red Pill ideology and misogynist talking points, but I also saw something a little bit more revealing.
Dude, I just watched The Manosphere. That is the funniest TV show I have ever seen in my life.
Inside the Manosphere, I watched it. I finished it. I'm going to give you my notes off the rip. This might not even be about Louis, even though he was the one that did the documentary. So, whatever. I think I like him. I do like his approach. I've seen clips of some of his other stuff. I think he's good. I will tell you this about that documentary. It was lackluster. It didn't really get to anything. Now, it may be, though, to be fair, it may be that I am so far beyond that content, that what he showed us, that it just didn't do anything for me. I got no insight. I learned about one new dude that I never heard about. That was HK. All the rest of those dudes I've talked about. I've heard their content. They're all idiots. They all say the same stuff. He didn't expose their money. He kind of touched on how he invested and he lost some, he invested 500 pounds and he lost 500 pounds in that guy's HK's things. He did kind of expose his platform specifically, but it wasn't much. It wasn't much for me. Now, to be fair, again, I don't think he made the movie for me. I don't think he made the documentary for me. I think he made it more for people who don't consume red pill content. yeah, I think he kind of made it to be somewhat of a mirror to hold up to them, so because he knew that they would watch it. Maybe that as well. I could see that.
No, that's not what's going on. Like, Thoreau made this as a hit piece. He made this to make money. Like, if you want to get mainstream, like the blue pillars, mainstream and women to come out and watch your product, talk about the red pill. The red pill guys, the manosphere, they're the boogeymen. And then when you go and you find who he went to find, like you go out and you get Myron Gaines, you get Justin. Like, a lot of people don't even know who Justin is. You get Justin, you get Sneeko, you get this HS Tiki Taki guy. Okay, you're showing a very narrow picture of what's in that world, right? And like, it is what it is, man. We got Dusto in the building. What's happening, bro? Hey, Dusto, man, I saw you rocking with Glenn last night, man. That podcast, man, that thing went like 8 hours, bro. I was watching a little bit, between here and there. 8 hours, man. But it's good to see you. BJ Santana 8415. I seen Red Pill, lots of clips. I can tell you something from my experience, the crazy bachelor parties stories my dad told me. I don't know bachelorette parties. Probably mean I didn't know about bachelorette parties were worse than men. It opened my eyes a lot. Yeah, like that's and shout out to you for that. Appreciate that comment. That's one of the uncomfortable truths that will come out if you really get into the space. The way women move versus the way men move. We always hear about the guy who's a player and he's out here banging all these chicks or whatever. We never hear about the women who are out here doing their thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The game is the game. That's how I look at it. The game is the game. You want to get out here and do your thing? Cool. Women are just better at being secretive about it. They used to be. Now with social media, they're putting all their dirt out there, which is bad. And women don't want to be held accountable if they get caught. Right. And like bachelorette parties, bro, man, they get it all the way in. It's crazy. Like, it's bachelorette parties. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at your text right now, Dusto. Congratulations, bro. I don't have my glasses on, but I saw the first couple words, so congratulations. Since you texted to me, I don't think you want me to announce it, but that's what's up, man. But it's when you get into the thing is, like, for someone like Thoreau to pitch this to Netflix, like, first of all, dude he got to be up there. He has to be a minimum of a B-lister for YouTube to even consider this thing. He did it in conjunction with the BBC, from what I understand. So, especially in UK, there's a big anti-red pill, anti-manosphere, anti-men movement. At least that's how it appears. It's just like, toxic masculinity and all that kind of stuff. And they talk about the tapes. And if you're going to come up with a product or a project and you really want people to watch your project, this will be a good one. But you can't do a real documentary on why guys tend to gravitate towards the red pill. You can't do it, because in order to tell that story, you got to make women look bad. Not all women, but you have to show that there are women who indeed go after these guys. There are women out here who these dudes are saying, like, oh man, these girls are loose, they're 304s, they're out here banging everybody. And then, you see these dudes surrounded by beautiful women. And it's one of those things. It's like, that's the problem. And Rollo Tomasi and Michael Sartain was talking about this. The problem with trying to show a documentary or show the red pill world, if you do that, you got to show why the world exists in the first place. And that's the thing. You got to show that part. And they don't want to hear that part. Even whenever I talk to people, and I'm more of when it comes to this red pill thing, man, I'm a moderate. I'm a realist. I'm an old guy, and I'm just telling these young dudes and these other men who have questions. I'm like, look, bro, this is just how the game is played right now. This is how the game is played right now. The game used to be different 10, 15 years ago. And then you go back 30 years beyond that, it was definitely different. But today it's evolved into this. Technology has a lot to do with that. You look at, Instagram and social media, Facebook, whatever, like just social media in general has really changed the game. And if you want to talk about why men are gravitating towards the manosphere, you have to talk about feminism, and you have to talk about technology giving women what appears to be limitless options. I can pick up my phone right now and I can start communicating with a woman in Colombia. I can just pick up my phone right now and text. I know some women down there. I could just text some women in Colombia. I could go on Instagram right now and I can interact with women in the Philippines or Thailand. I can interact with women in Spain and France and Tokyo. Right. I can find out what's going on in the Middle East, kind of. Right. They done shut down a lot of that. But you can communicate via WhatsApp or whatever platform, and you can instantly be talking to people all over the world. When I was growing up, bro, you couldn't really communicate with people in your city properly. Where are you gonna? You had to meet them in the real world. You had to see them in real life. The world has changed. The game has changed, and women are moving accordingly. Guys are still stuck in the old ways. You know what I mean? Just stuck in the old ways. Brother Tyrone in the building, what's happening, man? Right? And we're gonna get into this scam. Like a scam, like so they chase and find bimbos, take them on trips and buy them drinks when they get the internet and complain about them. Yeah, they do, because these dudes are going out here, right? These dudes, shout out to feminism. These dudes are going out here and they are unaware of the changes that have occurred. So guys are still operating. Let's say guys are still operating on a 1940s plan. They're still going out there, got their flowers, and they go up and they want to take her out. And she says, yeah, take me to this place and all this. You know, they don't realize that there are people out here who will take advantage of the situation, so to speak. There are women out here like, all right, if you really want to take me out, you've been pursuing me, you've been hitting me up. If you really want to take me out, you can take me to this restaurant over here. You know, this new place is called Shea Expensive as Hell, right over here. And it's going to be $500 for us to go over here and have dinner. And a guy will pay that money. And, you know, come to find out, like, oh, you mean $500 each. So, you know, dropped $1,000 to go to this restaurant that he never would have gone to. And the whole night she's sitting there taking pictures of the food and doing selfies of herself and doing quick little videos. And he's just sitting across from her, not even getting to know her, not talking to her. When dinner is over, she done got everything she want. Like, he done dropped $500 on her to eat and have a good time. And when dinner is over, she jumps in an Uber that he paid for. And then she goes to see the dude she really wants to holler at for free. Now, a lot of people will say, man, she's bad for doing that. She's evil. No, she's not. Right? The guy pursued her. The guy kept saying, what's it going to take for you to go out with me? What do I got to do? What do I got to do? All right, you want to take me out, man? Take me to this restaurant. And he agreed to do it. What are you going to learn in the Manosphere? Don't do that. Don't do that. The guys in the Manosphere is going to tell you, like, bro, if she's not willing to go out and have coffee with you or go out and have ice cream or a smoothie on the first date, she ain't really trying to deal with you, pimp. Move on to the next one. Why you in love with her anyway, bro? You don't even know her. You got to get to know her first. This is what they're learning. Now, that's not what the clips say. You look at someone like Myron, even if someone like Myron Gaines will tell you, like, you sit down and talk to him one-on-one. Hey man, I got this girl. I've been chasing this girl. I finally got her to agree to come out with me. And he'll be like, what are you taking her? Oh, I'm gonna take her to this restaurant. It's gonna cost this much money. He'll tell you, like, no, he won't be out animated and crazy about it. He'll say, nah, don't do that. Why, he'll break it down, ask you questions like, why are you gonna spend all this money on this woman? You realize, like, she has other options. She's just gonna accept this meal from you, and she's not wrong. You offering it. Why shouldn't she take it? Don't do that. Don't ask her where she wants to go. Like, you didn't know about this restaurant. Like, no, I didn't. Like, yeah, you asked her where to go. No, you plan the date. He'll go into that whole thing. You plan the date. You plan where you're gonna take her. And you take her there. And if she says no, fine, you move on to the next one. That's what Myron Gaines will tell you. Now, when he does it on the platform, when he's surrounded by a bunch of, girls who do OF and they're trying to, get people to come to their social media, he's going to say it in a very loud and crazy and, just off the wall. And don't get it twisted. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Myron says stuff that I completely don't agree with. I'm like, bro, that was unnecessary. Like, some of the things he says, but why is he doing it? The views, man. The views. So, but when you go talk to the dude with the cameras off and you ask him some of these questions, he'll break it down and tell you like, no. And going back to that example, you have a woman who wants you to take her to this expensive restaurant and all this other kind of stuff. One of the things I would do with that particular guy, I was like, hey man, you on her Instagram? Like, yeah, let me see her Instagram. Pulls up her Instagram. It's public Instagram. It's her, you know, she's doing her thing. She's got pictures. And I'm like, look at all these restaurants she's been to. And I'll start writing it down. Like, I know that restaurant. I know that one, and that one. And I'm here to tell you, bro, those restaurants are very expensive. This is fine dining. Where did you say she works? It's like she's working. Where you met her at Target? Where did you say she works? Like, I'm here to tell you, bro, you ain't gonna be able to afford these places. And she's hitting 2 or 3 a week. And he's like, this one's in Vegas. How did she get to Vegas? Right? This one here's in New York. This one over here is in Miami. You know, and it's like, bro, you need to pay attention to what she's giving you the game right here. She's showing you everything. She's got a bunch of dudes like you who are taking her to these places. She's getting these pictures. She's getting these experiences. She's putting it on her social media, and boom, she's moving on. Like, so, bro, I'm here to tell you, man, like, if this woman was into you, she would love to go have ice cream or coffee with you. She would love to just come over and talk and walk, you know, go walk through the park or something. The fact that she's not doing that tells you she's not into you, so move on. Right? This is the red pill that I've seen. And yeah, there's a ton of bad actors giving bad advice and suggesting things because they want to sell their courses too. They want to do all this other stuff. I put it on the guy like, man, it's up to you, homie. Like, that girl is trying to run your pockets, and some of these bad actors in the red pill space, they're going to try to run your pockets too. And it's up to you to figure out who can really help you. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, who can really help you? So let's get back to the video. So like I said, this brother right here, not a part of the red pill, never been, it sounds like he's never been inside of that world, doesn't even think about that world, which makes sense to me. Most dudes who understand the dating game, or the guys who are in their long-term relationships or married or whatever, why would they worry about what's going on out here with single dudes? Why would they worry about the guys who are invisible and all that? They don't care. So, but I think he made a really good point. Like, as far as it being a documentary or the project itself, is like, it's lackluster. It's not even that good. And it's not. Why isn't it that good? Thoreau could not get what he wanted. He wanted an opportunity to make these dudes look like idiots, and he really couldn't get it. He tried, but he just couldn't quite pull it out.
But for me, it was lackluster for me. So it's not whatever I'm going to say about it. Like, I can appreciate things about the documentary. I think that just the conversation being neat, I'm all for that. You know, maybe some young I needed to watch that, and that might be the enough. And it missed on some key things. It did. But it was interesting. It was interesting. I encourage you to watch it if you haven't watched it already. Definitely go watch it. It's on Netflix. So the whole red pill manosphere, you know, I don't know, grift. I mean, it's a grift. It's built on a bunch of lies, smoke. These things playing out over. One thing that Louis touched on in the documentary was how the men espouse traditional values while simultaneously talking about sleeping with as many women as they possibly can, being in one-way monogamous relationships, and so on, right? That's not traditional. I mean, not on paper. Men did this, by the way. Men did do this. That's the thing about the red pill that I find to be very funny, is that they're so dumb because they're just like Trump. They just say the quiet part out loud and people go, oh, he's honest. It's because he doesn't know any better. It's not because he's honest. He's a dipshit. He just doesn't know any better. He doesn't know how to dog whistle. He's not like Barry, what's his name? Barry Goldwater or whatever his name was. The KKK dude that Hillary Clinton used to work for back in the 60s. He's not like that. He's not like where he mastered the art of dog whistle, like a Nixon or like a art of dog whistle. People think Trump is just unabashedly himself. Trump is just a dumbass. right? The red pill men are just dumbasses. They don't know how to dog whistle. It's not that they're just so like, oh, I could say whatever. No. They're just so dumb. They don't know how to dog whistle. And one of the things that used to happen in the olden days, I just got done talking about this. When the women had no other option but to be tethered and tied to a man for her economic viability and her livelihood, men could go outside, have babies on the other side of town, have a woman on the other side of town. Also, the economy afforded that man the opportunity to pay for both families, and neither woman could do anything about it. Because once the woman got pregnant with his babies, then now she needed his help, the other woman. And then his wife, why was she couldn't divorce him in most cases, right? No fault divorce didn't become a thing nationally until the 70s. I think the first state to pass it was California, 1969. So women were trapped in these marriages.
You know, I've been hearing this dialogue, you know, over the past year and a half or so, women being trapped. You know, you go back and you talk about, you know, back in the 40s, 50s or whatever, 60s, women were trapped. Women couldn't get away. You know, no one was ever trapped. No one was ever trapped. They're just keeping it 100. There were women who dealt with bad men, abusive men. They were in situations that just wasn't right. You had a guy like maybe, you know, an addict either on something hard or alcohol or something harder. These women stood by their men and, you know, raised their families because that's how they were raised. They were raised to do that. Don't think for a minute that they didn't want to leave. They would go talk to their mom. They go talk to grandma like, hey, I want to leave. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I'm leaving them. And they're like, no, because women back then would just stick it out. Could they leave? Absolutely. Were there women who did leave? Yes, 100%. Women left all the time. Women left all the time. And, you know, I don't agree with him being correct, bro. You know, there's, you know, now this society change and make it better. Like he's talking about no fault divorce, and then we get into family, you know, we're getting to family court law, like family law. Did this society make it better? Yes. But one of the things you hear on the red pill side, man, they talk about, you know, people don't want to own up for their bad decisions. Like, you married this dude, you know, no one forced you to get married. But, you know, if you go back far enough, there were times when women were forced. Like, a marriage was basically merging families. It was a business deal. And you were forced. Like, your family is giving the other family a dowry. So there's money involved. And, you know, the family, the kids come together, they got to get married. And they're kind of stuck in their situation, right? Because it was what's best for the overall family, not just them. So they was, you know, they would begin to start their family, whatever. Like, you got paired up with somebody. You had no real say in it. Now you can do what you want to do, right? But even like the stuff he's saying, you got guys that have a family here and another family on the other side of town. You don't think that woman on the other side of town knew about his family? You don't think she knew? You don't think that there were people, because, you know, it's like, well, depends on the town. Like, all right, yeah, if you live in a big city, if you live in LA, you live in New York, you know, you live in these really mega cities, okay, you can have a whole nother family on the other side of town, and maybe people don't know about it. But man, I'm telling you, bro, even before the internet, man, word traveled fast. Someone is gonna see dude with the other woman, and it's gonna get back. It always did. But women stuck it out. Powerful men, and this is what the red pill talks about. Powerful men, they get the options to do this. They have options, right? And women, when they're dealing with a powerful man, they don't care. Some of them, most of them, don't care that he already has a family. They gonna mess with him anyway. And this is something that the red pill talks about. It's like, look, man, you know, if you are one of those dudes at the top, you're gonna have some options. You're gonna be able to do some things. Now, do I agree with that? No. Is that something I want to do? No. If I'm single and I'm running a rotation, every woman in the rotation knows she's in it. She knows there's other women. Everyone. They all know it. man, we ain't married. You want to be with me, that's cool, but I'm doing some other stuff too. It is what it is. The choice is yours. You ain't gotta be with me. And if they say no, all right, cool. I got another one waiting to jump in there. And I wasn't even like paid like that, bro. I was barely a regular dude. Financially, I wasn't making no real money at my peak. But if a woman wants to deal with you, she'll deal with you, and whatever that means. Maybe she understands she's competing. Like, well, I'm gonna out hustle these other girls, and he's gonna want to be with me. Now, one of the things I tell these guys, I'm like, man, don't lie. You know, cheating is lying. Don't, if you're gonna go out here and do your thing, make sure that all the women know that's what you're doing. Don't lie. Let them choose. And if they choose to be with you, cool. They can't say nothing. If it, you know what I mean, it is what it is. Right? He's talking about back in the day, the guys who were lying. That was wrong. That was wrong. And you can't lie your way through it. It's gonna get back. It's gonna get back. And most of those dudes were womanizers before they got married anyway. So again, the woman he's dealing with, she knows about this guy. You can't outrun your reputation in your town. People gonna know who you are, bro. So when I hear that argument from people, you know, like the mainstream folks, I'm just kind of like, I don't buy it, bro. They weren't trapped. They weren't trapped. They just didn't like the situation they were in, but they weren't trapped. They could leave at any time. Well, they got kids and they ain't making no money. Come on, man. Black women been making money since slavery. They be out picking cotton, and at the end of that, master let them go have a part-time job somewhere. They be out somewhere, you know, knitting somebody's clothes. Sisters have always been working. There's always been a thing. There's no trap. They just couldn't get what they wanted. They didn't like the situation. But a lot of women back then, they were like, well, you got to stick it out. You have to. That was the thing, stick it out. But I just don't buy the trap part. You know what I mean? I just don't buy that.
Women were trapped. Everybody knows that. It was taboo to call it a relationship. You couldn't say that out loud back then. You just did it. The men just did it, right? Papa was a Rolling Stone. The men just did it. In 2026, these dudes are just saying what traditionalism is. Now, see, for a lot of people, granddaddy and grandmama, they love each other, and granddaddy was a doting father and he loved his family. And I'm like, no, granddaddy was an abusive man who cheated on your grandma. That's what I'm telling you. The men nowadays think they are your grandfather. They want to go back to that day and age. And they are saying, without a doubt, they want to be in relationships with women, and they can go out and sleep with whoever they want to sleep with while the women stay at home, cook and clean, and wait on the man to come home and do whatever that, you know, do whatever.
Yeah, I can tell he's never spoken to anyone in the mental swamp. That's not what dudes want. That's not what dudes, the guys who fall down the red pill rabbit hole aren't looking for what he just said there. Real talk, man. They're not looking for that. Most of the guys who fall down the red pill rabbit hole realize either the dudes who are invisible and they want to be seen, they want to figure out, okay, how do I even get women to see me? There's that. And then you have the guys who were doing everything they were supposed to do. They had the woman, like he's completely in love with her. She was probably in love with him at the beginning. They're having their relationship, and then something happened. Something happened. And she turned on a dime, and she had to talk with him. It's not you, it's me. And, you know, then now he's trying to figure it out. He just got, you know what I mean? He's got T-boned by like an 18-wheeler. Like he's wanting to marry this woman. He's trying to buy a ring. He's doing everything he can. He's doing everything right. Everything. He's doing everything right. He's the perfect dude. And then he's told by one of her friends, like, oh man, you're just too good. You're just too perfect. You know, you're doing everything right. He doesn't understand what's going on. He sees some red pill content. He falls down a rabbit hole. Those are most of the dudes that I see. The vast majority of guys out there, like if you listen to this brother right here, what he was saying, like, you know, grandpa's out here banging all these chicks. Not every granddad was doing that. The vast majority of men are in monogamous relationships. The vast majority of men, not only do they don't have a bunch of women or rotation and all that kind of stuff. They don't have the time to do that, and they don't even want to do that. They want to be with their family. They want to be with their wife and their kids. They're bought in on the Disney fairy tale. That's what they want. And then they get into it, and then something happens, and she leaves him, and they don't know. They don't understand. He gets ghosted. He doesn't understand, and they come to the red pill looking for answers. Right, but that's a very common misconception. You got so many women, especially, but there's a lot of people out there in the mainstream, like the blue pillars. They'll say that all men are players and all these men are doing these things and all these men have all these women. And I would tell those women, like, you're talking about the men you deal with. All of them dudes you see and you chasing, yeah, they doing that. But what about the guy, the guy who owns his own garage and he's doing body work or he's a mechanic? What about the plumber over here? He ain't running a rotation. What about this dude over here? This, regional manager for Target or whatever. He ain't no player. He just wants to come home and have a nice meal with you and all that. But they say, nah, every man is a player. It's every man you dealing with is a player. There's plenty of dudes out here. The vast majority of guys out here are not chasing other women. They don't have the time, resources, or the energy to do it. Most of these guys don't want to do it. And when they come into the red pill, they get in here and they just see stuff like, look, man, you got to have some bad boy traits. Like you see this girl like, oh man, this girl, she's perfect. She would never do this and she would never do that. Like, word? Is that her right here? Look at her right there. Talking to the exact type of dude that she swears she would never sleep with. Yep. Oh, look, there she goes. They're on their way out of here. Where do you think they're going? You think they're going to have Bible study right now? It's 2 a.m. Where do you think they're going? Guys need to see it. They're like, damn. Like they need to see it. That's what's in the red pill world. It's just guys say, hey man, I hear you, but this is what's going on. Now, I'm not controversial, so I'm not gonna have these clips of me yelling at women, telling them to get out and all this calling them 304s. I'm not gonna do that. That's just not me. I'm here trying to help dudes who are looking for real answers. Like, hey man, here's something that's gonna be uncomfortable to hear, but let me tell you, this is it. Right? You're gonna have to have some bad boy traits, bro. I'm not saying be a bad boy, be an asshole, but you got to kind of present that sometimes. Like you got to act a little bit so you can get to know her a little bit. You know what I mean? You're going to have to do it a little bit, bro. We do exercises. Like, bro, you want this woman right here to get rid of you, man? Start being a perfect dude. She'll drop you like a bad habit, homie. Guys will do it like, yo, man, like she really stopped calling me. Like, yeah, because you were calling her too much. You were too available to her. Whenever she asked something, you were right there. You were doing it. Like you boring, bro. You became boring. She wants to get rid of you. Now talk to this girl over here, but be the bad boy. Put on your bad boy hat. Go over here and talk to her. Can't get rid of her. I never return her calls. Like she'll text me. I'll text her back maybe in 2 weeks. She's always complaining, but when I tell her to come over, she comes right over. Like, hey man, we don't make the rules. That's just how the game is played. Is every woman like that? No, they're not. But when you out here, you can see the difference. You know what I mean? You can see the difference.
That he wants to do. Now, do I actually believe, by the way, I want to be clear. I don't even believe that the woman in this case, or the women in this case, in these cases, are in on the grift. Sadly. Because it's money. I can see him being in on the grift. But I do think that there was a few women that actually were there and didn't know and didn't understand. And one of us, Marvin Gaye's girlfriend or ex-friend, I broke up. I didn't know it had anything to do with Louis. I think his presence saved that young lady. So shout out to Louis for that.
And like I said, I could tell this dude he's not in that world. Angie leaving Myron had nothing to do with Louis Theroux. And what's funny, because when you watch the way that they edited this documentary, they did their best to make Angie look like this soft, extremely submissive, confused little girl. Nah, bro. I sat down and talked to her, bro. I'm here to tell you, she a warrior. She is fierce. That woman wanted what she wanted. Like she was the way that she didn't want to be on camera, and you can see her trying to dodge the cameras. It had nothing to do with Louis Theroux. Like Myron probably didn't tell her that they were coming, and she didn't know they were there. She would have came later or came earlier to avoid that. She's a fierce woman. I sat down, broke bread with her and Myron, and it was funny too. We were in Fort Lauderdale. This was after an event at Valuetainment in their studios. So Adam Sosnick was there with us. Myron was there. Angie was there. One of Angie's friends, this one woman, beautiful young woman. I think she's from Venezuela. She was there. She had just gotten in the country, but this is a very like wealthy Venezuelan, and this was a couple years back, guys. This is almost 3 years ago. Zorka was there, and if you want to make the red pill look bad, all you got to do is get Zorka on your show. That guy, you want to talk about one of the dumbest humans I've ever met in my life. That dude, my God. But anyway, we're all sitting, we're at Moxie's in Fort Lauderdale. We're all sitting down, we're eating. Myron is sitting there. He has this Angie is to Myron's left. And then to Myron's right is this other woman, another young Latina, beautiful, right? It was one of Myron's other chicks. At this time, he was running this rotation. So Myron's sitting here. He's got his side chick here, and he's got his main chick on his left, right? He's sitting back, and they both hugging and kissing him like they making out, doing all that right here at the dinner table, right? Holding hands, all that, but he's holding both of their hands, right? Now, that goes against the narrative that, that Theroux was trying to throw out there. You got this innocent woman, and you just getting in her head. Like, nah, man, she knew what she was doing. She wanted something. She had what she wanted, but once she realized that she couldn't get whatever her mission was, whatever her main objective was, at some point she realized she wasn't getting that, and then she cut her ties. Simple as that. And did that hurt Myron? I bet it did. I bet it did. I bet he was salty, but she did what she's like, boom, she did what she did. Another learning experience. A lot of guys was talking about that. Hey, did you see, Angie and Myron? I'm like, bro, you ain't never broke up with somebody. What pushed you down the rabbit hole to the red pill anyway? Oh yeah, I broke up with my girl, this and that. Like, you think that he's Superman or something? He ain't dealing with the same shit everybody else is dealing. The one thing is he's telling the truth. He ain't lying. He ain't, he's standing 10 toes down on his thing, right? And she moved on. She wanted something. Apparently he couldn't provide it or wasn't willing to do what she wanted. It wasn't about, she don't care about him smashing the other chicks. She really didn't care about that. Whatever it was. And Myron said that she wanted a family. She wanted a family right now. And Myron didn't want to do that. That came out of Myron's mouth. Right? That's what he said. So she had a decision to make. And that's the number one rule that I teach when I talk to these young guys. I'm like, bro, it's going to come down to a point where you're going to have to make a decision. You can't always pass it off for this or that. You're going to have to make a decision. You're going to want something. She going to want something else. Someone's going to have to make a decision. So if you leading and you say we're going right and she's like, nah, man, I'm going left, and she goes left, you got to make a decision. Do you continue down your path or do you stop and go follow her? That's what it boils down to. Myron and Angie got to that point. Myron was like, we going left. Angie's like, no, I'm going right. Myron went left. She went right. And that was that. That's how the game works. That's just how the game works, bro. Like Zerka, bro, casual terms in the building was that Zerka is more than unhinged, bro. I couldn't even talk to dude, bro. Like I can't. I'm a networker. I went to the other end of the table. Like, there's no way I'm talking to this guy. Tarus, this 19th Amendment thing, like, women not being able to vote. That's all BS, bro. I'm here to tell you the vast majority of the guys in the red pill space don't care about that. Are there a group of dudes who'll be talking all that crazy, like women shouldn't be able to vote, women shouldn't be able to get in the military? Yeah. The vast majority of them are younger dudes who just saying what Myron says. Right, but that 19th Amendment thing, or overturning 19th, most of these dudes don't even vote. They don't vote. They didn't know, and over like the wanted to the political stuff, man. Like we want black people to be slaves again. We want women back in the barefoot and pregnant and in the kitchen. We don't want them voting. We don't want women to be able to work. We want, man, that's all BS, bro. Are there guys saying it? Yeah. That would be like the MAGA equivalent to the red pill. Is anyone listening to them dudes? No. No. No one's listening to those guys, bro. No one's listening to them. What it is just another way to churn up outrage and stuff like that in the blue pill world, in the mainstream world. Because here's the thing. When you had these conversations, real conversations about why men are over here, it all boils down to dating. It all boils down to dealing with today's sexual marketplace. It boils down to, coming to terms and accepting the fact that you can wind up in family court and get wrecked. This is what's going on. And I keep telling people, like, bro, I'm telling you, family court is going to change. The way we do this stuff is going to change. Like the child support, and like child custody is going to be 50-50. Child support is probably going to get capped throughout the country. Alimony is going to go away. Why do I feel so strongly about this? Because women are beginning to out-earn men, and there are women out here who are getting crushed in the family court system. That's why I believe so strongly that it's going to change. Women organize and do things politically. Men don't. Men don't. These dudes in the red pill world, man, they really don't care about politics. They really don't. Go in there and look at the chat and Myron X's chat, you know what I mean? And it's a bunch of MAGA silly boys in there. It's a bunch of them, right? Then you got to ask yourself, are any of them dudes registered to vote? The answer is probably no. Right now, are the vast majority of the people in this movement conservative? Yeah. Are there a lot of MAGA people in there? Yeah, because MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. You see that MAGA message is going away now because of the war in Iran. These MAGA people, these young people who did believe in Trump, they realize they just got boned. They realize they got bent over. They ain't even getting no grease. So they mad now. So you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Right? There's a legion of former MAGA people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're really mad. They're really upset about Epstein files, and they're really upset about this war. So for the people who do pay attention to politics, right, they're coming away from the Trump thing and they're actually pushing back. But as far as like bro, these people, man, these guys are trying to figure out how to be seen by women. That is the vast majority of these dudes. These guys, right? They don't really care about politics like that, man. Myron does. But you look at Myron views. His biggest views come when he's talking about dating and 304s and going castle girls and all that. But when he starts talking about politics, the numbers drop. I mean, it is what it is. When men get caught cheating, they always get sloppy with it. And when women cheat, it seems they know how to hide better than us. Yeah. With sisterhood on their back. Yeah, they got their back. It is what it is, man. Women, when it comes to that sort of thing, man, women are just more in tune to that. I don't know. Maybe they're more experienced. They're more experienced. They know how to move. And like I said, bro, I've been with a lot of women who are really good at hiding stuff. Like they're really good at keeping them bones in the closet, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell women all the time, man, ignorance is bliss. Love me enough that you don't get caught. That's all I ask. Love me enough that you don't get caught. Because if I catch you, I'm moving on. And we ain't having no talk about it. It's not going to be any argument. I'm just going to be gone. You're going to take a trip. I'm probably going to pay for your trip. You and your girls. Hey, why don't y'all go to LA? Why don't y'all go to Miami? Why don't y'all go over here? Go to Atlanta and check out this play. You know what I'm saying? Lost in Translation podcast, new play is out. Why don't y'all go up to Atlanta when that happens? Shout out to Lost in Translation podcast. Y'all want to hear some really good music? Y'all need to listen to him. A matter of fact, I'm gonna end this show with one of his with some of his music. Why don't y'all go up there? I got your VIP. Got y'all in a suite. Go on up there and have a good time. I'm just doing that so I can get all my stuff out, right? So I can get all my stuff out of there in peace. I done moved all my stuff. I'm back in my place. I get all her stuff out of my place, pull out her stuff back at her crib, leave her keys on the counter. That's it. No note, no nothing. I'm done. She know what time it is. I caught you. Now, if I catch you, I'm moving on. That's me. And this is what I tell dudes, like, man, don't be out here arguing and fussing and fighting. You got a choice to make. She gonna be out here getting it in when she wants to get it in. She don't even love you enough to not get caught. She got caught. She's sloppy with it. So you got a choice. Either accept it and y'all stay together, or you move on. It's as simple as that. And most men, they want to accept it. Well, we'll go get counseling. We'll talk about it. We'll pray over it. Good luck with that, bro. She gonna keep doing it. She gonna keep doing it until she can't. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you accept it, you can't cry about it, bro. You cannot cry about it.
Because right after, by the end of that documentary, Louis reported that she broke up with Marvin. They ended up breaking up, right? So that's why I think that it simply took one conversation with Louis. It took one conversation with Louis for her to be like, nah, because she wasn't around Mark. Like, he never got challenged the way that Louis challenged him. And Louis barely challenged him, but he never got challenged like that in front of her or ever, probably. He never got challenged like that.
And see, that's the thing this brother doesn't realize. Again, that story I told you about Winter Restaurant, mine was with Angie, his main girl, and then one of his side pieces. And they're all, bro, you can see it was like, damn, I was sitting there like, okay. And dudes asked me about that. Like, is it realistic? Can I do what Myron is doing and have me a bunch of girls? I got my main chick, and when I take trips, she packs my condoms and all that. I'm like, bro, if you can get it, good for you. If that's what you want and you can get it, good for you. But do you realize the kind of status you must achieve to get that? Right? You got to attain a level that's so high, bro. Think about it. The average woman ain't going to deal with that, man. She's just not. You have to offer so much. You have to be so rare, and then find a woman who just cool with it. Like, all right, you just banging them chicks, but you know what I'm saying? I got the ring. I got the house. I got the kids. I'm running the bank accounts. You got women. You'd be surprised how many women, if you give them the opportunity to choose, and you can provide a lifestyle that she really wants, man, she'll be all right with it. She'll tell you, I don't ever want to see the chicks. But Myron had it to where the chicks was sitting right there with him. They sitting right there. And I tell dudes like, bro, that's very difficult to attain. Now you can do it, but you're going to have to do a lot of work. And you're going to have to go through a lot of ladies to find those, that group of women who want to share you. But Dan Bilzerian did it. You know what I mean? You look at someone like Justin Waller, he does it. There's tons of people y'all don't know. So I can't say their names because y'all don't know them. But there's people out there, they call them swingers and open relationships and whatnot. Man, they do that. They get together. These are regular Americans, good old fashioned, apple pie and baseball Americans. You got the American flag everywhere, and you go into their crib and for 4th of July or a barbecue is all good until the sun goes down and it turns into like a freak off. That's just how they get down. They let you know this is what we do. So there are a lot of people into that, call it an alternative lifestyle, but it's just what they agree to. These are the conversations that go on in the Manosphere. These are the conversations that go on in the red pill world. Like, you got people like me with my take on it. Rich Cooper has his take on it. Myron has his take on it. Fresh has his take on it. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Everybody has their own take on it. And it's up to you as the individual looking for your answers. Like, okay, what works for me? Let me try this over here. Let me try a little bit of what Saint said, a little bit of what Myron's talking about, and then some of what Orion Teraband's talking about. Let me try a little bit of all that. And what the Manosphere does, man, it basically just gets guys to reprogram their thinking on the sexual marketplace. That's it. But Louis Theroux had nothing to do with Angie leaving Myron. Nothing to do. I want y'all to understand something right now. She is not some weak-minded, soft woman who's like some gentle lamb. Like I said, bro, she is a wolf. She ain't playing, bro. She is nothing soft about that woman. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I respect. I tip my hat to her. Like, damn, she 100 with it. And the moment she didn't get what she wanted, she moved on. So you had two alphas doing their thing. And the moment one of them was like, I ain't doing that, and she went a different direction. And that is the game.
So when he had to explain, like, basically, I think she was okay with it until he was like too disrespectful. Like, yeah, I can go fuck any bitches I wanted, and she can't do anything, and she's just here, and she's gonna wait. And then she tried to, like, in the moment, I think she tried to play the role, but I think that shit aided her. I think it actually.
He's wrong. That part is wrong. That she was doing, like I said, right? She right there participating with him. Right there. That part is wrong. She wanted a family. And Myron wasn't trying to do that right now. That's where it went. She's like, all right, I'm ready to have a family right now. Myron said no. And instead of going out there and doing what, like, again, you got bad actors on both sides. When you look at the blue pill world, the mainstream world, you got women out there who will encourage other women to come off birth control and lie to the guy and just get pregnant. It's like, oopsie. Like, didn't he just say he wasn't ready for that? So we having a baby. That's wrong. That's just as wrong as what's going on the fringes of the red pill. And I would say that because, and y'all can see that, like, there's plenty of videos out there. And then, let's not even get into paternity fraud. Paternity fraud? Bro. But brother public offender, I just want you to know right now, you're wrong at that part. Like that Louis Theroux had nothing to do with her leaving. He had nothing to do with that. She was ready to have a family. Myron didn't want to have a family. That comes from Myron Gaines.
He got to her and she was like, yeah, I'm out. This ain't worth it. And I think that's what made her dip ultimately. So shout out to Louis for that for sure. But it was a lot of interesting parts in the documentary, no doubt about it. Let's get into some other stuff that happened.
To quote Myron Gaines, one of the main people I speak to is a guy called Myron Gaines. Are you familiar with him?
Yes.
So he's part of a double act called Fresh and Fit.
Oh, by the way, I think he's talking to the guy, Chris Williamson. Williamson also is a part of the Manosphere. I found it to be very hilarious. I was in the comment section of one of these videos, not this one. It was a different one because it wasn't with Chris in there. And in the comment section, it was men in there like, yeah, Fresh and Fit, they're idiots. Find more healthy out than Chris Williamson. I just want to tell you, Chris Williamson is a full-blown dipshit. He is an idiot. Like, if you ever listen to him talk, if you can't tell that dude is a grifter and a fucking dipshit, I don't know what to tell you. I've seen so many of his tweets. I follow him on X. I did when he was on Twitter, and not because I believe in him, because this is kind of what I do. I'm like a journalist, I think, at this point, to some extent. That dude's a dipshit. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. But yeah, anyways, I just thought that was funny as hell.
To quote Myron,
yeah, being a YouTuber and being a journalist are two different things. We're YouTubers, bro. We get to say what we want. Journalism is something completely different, first of all. Secondly, Chris Williamson is in the red pill world. He's in the manosphere because he's pulled in to the manosphere. A lot of people will say, well, they call it being manosphere adjacent. Chris Williamson is not a red pill dude. And he's trying really hard to push the red pill away. The problem is this guy is always out here trying to find the truth. He's looking for answers. And when you get into the dating space, when you get into, these trenches out here with mate selection and all that kind of stuff, the truth is going to make you seem as if you're part of the red pill. That's just the bottom line. When you go look for these answers, when you talk about hypergamy, which I don't have a problem with hypergamy, but when you talk about hypergamy and how women tend to be more hypergamous than men, I would say, yeah, to a degree. When you look at mate selection, when you look at what women want in a mate versus what men want in a mate, short term and long term, when you start looking at that and start getting these answers, it's going to make you look more red pill because the red pill guys have been talking about this forever. Going all the way back to the men's rights activists, man, the MRA movement. Going all the way back to the MRA movement. In that very first movie, The Red Pill, I forgot who the woman who did that. The very first woman, the very first movie. And this was a woman who did a real documentary. And Brother Tyrone, if you're still in the chat, man, let me know what's the name of little shorty's name who created and wrote and directed The Red Pill. And in the mainstream world, man, they tried to cancel her. They did cancel her. But she sets off, she's like, I'm a feminist. She's like, this is a woman who's been in Hollywood, C-list celebrity. She did a bunch of slasher movies and stuff like that. And she got she's behind the camera and she does documentaries. She's decided, I'm going to do a documentary about the men's rights activist movement. And I'm going to show how these dudes are weirdos and, they don't know what they're talking about. And they're just, it's fake news and blah, blah. So she goes in to make a real documentary, unlike Lewis. Lewis went in to tell a story, his story. He went in to make a product for a certain segment of the world, which are the people who are anti-red pill. That's, basically the mainstream media, blue pillars of the world. That's what we made this documentary for. She set out to make a documentary. And as she got into the documentary, and as she she set out to debunk everything these guys were saying. That's her whole thing was, Cassie Jane, oh, this is Shaw's in the building. What's up, fam? And Paul Elam was definitely in that documentary. That's one of the guys, like the source code. But so Cassie set out to debunk the men's rights activist movement. And you have to watch this documentary. If you're just like watching this because you're kind of curious to hear what I have to say about, like the red pill, if you're just kind of curious, you must watch that documentary. You can watch it for free on YouTube, right? I also think it's for free on Prime, or Amazon Prime. If it's not free on Amazon Prime, it might cost maybe $5 to watch it. If you really want to know where the red pill comes from, if you really want to know the source code of the red pill, you have to watch that documentary. Again, this is done by Cassie Jane. Cassie Jane, at the time, full-on feminist, beautiful woman, actress. She had the look, blonde. She was doing her thing. She set out to make this documentary. She set out to debunk these guys and expose them, make them look like fools. But what happened was she got into it and was like, oh man, these guys aren't lying. They might look kind of weird and they're angry, right? And they're frustrated, but they're not lying. This is crazy, especially the part when it comes to reproductive rights. And by the end of this documentary, when she was done with this documentary, she's like, I'm no longer a feminist. She was like, men are being hurt right now, which I would argue she became a real feminist, because feminism is about equality. If you really want to get into it, today's feminism isn't about equality, it's about superiority. But the true feminists, they got into the business because they wanted equality, and they believed in the Bible, they believed in the word of God, and they wanted to stop slavery. That's where it all came from, right? Just go back and do a little research. Prove me wrong, as they say. But she did that documentary, and at the end of that documentary, she's like, I'm no longer a feminist. This is sad. This is horrific. We need to do something about it. Our society is crushing men. We are destroying men. These men aren't even doing anything wrong. You got to go watch that documentary. You got to go watch that. And Shaw, hey, Shaw, I hope you can actually can you get an interview with Cassie? I might try to reach out to her. I know a couple people in media. I might be able to get a hold of her. I doubt if she'll do an interview though, but that would be a great interview, man. If you got her on your platform, I definitely support it. I'll tell everybody to watch it. And I'm gonna try to get her on this one as well. But that's where it all stems from. The red pill comes from the MRA movement. The Manosphere is about the MRA movement. You feel me? Like that's where it comes from. And it comes from the fact, like, and this is one of the things, like when I talk to women, this is something Myron says all the time. All the guys in the red pill, the content creators in the red pill space. And this is when the cameras are off. And I'll talk to a woman, and they'll talk about how women are oppressed and the patriarchy and all this. And I'm like, all right, name one right or privilege that men have that women don't have here in America. And I put that question to you guys. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this on Team Replay, name one right or one privilege that men have in America that women do not have. Right? And then there's the other side of that. Name one right or privilege that women have that men don't have. All right? So, and put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If you're watching on Team Replay, put it in the comments. And when you really begin to think about it, you'll see, like, oh, I see why these dudes are mad. And yeah, a lot of these dudes, bro, they're emotional, they're mad, they don't know what to do with their anger. Like, women know how to channel that anger into other stuff. This is why politically women are able to do shit, where men, they don't know what to do with it. They just get mad, they sit with it, they start screaming or whatever, start saying random shit. But the thing is this, and the answer is plain. There is no right or privilege that a man has in America that a woman does not have. However, I can think of at least one right or privilege that women have that men don't. Right? And it's a big one. It's a big one. Right? So this is the core of the manosphere. But again, most guys get to that last. When dudes fall down that rabbit hole, when dudes first come to the red pill world, they come to the manosphere, they're really looking for dating advice. A lot of dudes are trying to figure out how to get their girlfriend back. Right? And there are guys like, you get like a dose of game, which I'm a big fan of A Dose of Game. Check him out on YouTube, A Dose of Game. His videos, short, sweet, to the point. And this mass dude, like, you go into his chat, into his comments, and be mass guys trying to figure out, how do I get my girlfriend back? How do I get this stripper to date me? And it's like, he'll tell you, like, you don't want to date her and you don't want to get your old girlfriend back. Like, he just comes out and tells you, like, you don't want to do that. But then, no, I really want to, man. Tell me how to do it. All right. Like, okay, I give you the game, but you really don't. You should just move on. Guys get that one-night thing. They get stuck on women. So this is what they come to the red pill world for. And then they get this advice. They come down here and they learn these tactics, and they go back out into the world, and they begin to get success. And then what do they do when they get success? They revert back to the person that they were before, and then they lose the women that they finally got, because they revert and they start, become the plugged-in beta male. They become that guy that's going to pedestalize her and all that. They're just so happy, and they just want to hold on to her. And she's like, ew, what happened to the guy that I met? What happened to that confident dude with the game that basically ignored me until he wanted something from me? Like, what happened to that guy? Right? What happened to the guy I had to build up? There's no work here. And a lot of those dudes, they lose the women.
Gaines. One of the main people I speak to is a guy called Myron Gaines. Are you familiar with him?
Yes.
So he's part of a double act called Fresh and Fit. They have a podcast in Miami. Their content is very extreme. And Myron Gaines wrote a book called Why Women Deserve Less. His whole message is that women have been pampered and they are over entitled. And as men, we need to recognize that and give them less, and everything will go more smoothly. So his message would be, men can hack the game of life. I can teach you the cheat codes of life. A lot of it based on old PUA, pickup artistry, supposed hacks, negging women, recognizing that women are, in their words or in their view, status obsessed. And then you can build the life that you would like and would deserve by employing his techniques. I mean, I found it so inimical to the way I think about it. I mean, I was raised by a feminist mum in South London in a world where my mum was a working mum. I grew up in the 70s in South London. So these ideas are so alien. I had to kind of get my head around them. I think a lot of it seems to be based on his interactions with cam girls and OnlyFans models. When he's talking about women, he only really seems to be talking about Instagram models and women who do a lot of social media. That gets you some way down to understanding like what his mindset is.
This is what I be saying all the time about like the Fresh and Fit kind of guys, because those dudes are so stupid. So basically, they curate this environment that is filled with a bunch of clout chasing women, right? They fill up the rooms that they're in with women who are trying to build platforms. Dude, it is so much easier for you to find a woman that got 300 followers on Instagram than it is for you to find a woman that got 30,000 followers on Instagram. It is so easy for you to find a woman that got 500 followers on TikTok than it is for you to find a woman that got 1.5 million followers on TikTok. That is a you thing. If you are interested in women who aren't out here chasing clout, because that's the vast majority of women, then all you must do is stop seeking the women that are chasing clout. And mind y'all, I don't even blame the women who are chasing clout.
Why not?
I just think that is fucked up for y'all to deliberately seek those women out and then base your worldview of women on the interactions you're having with this very, very small subset of women.
And this is how you can tell that this brother right here, the public offender, like he said, to his credit, he said at the very beginning of this video, he's not a part of that world, hasn't even really watched the content. You can tell by the statements he just made. He didn't watch Fresh and Fit back in the day. Like Fresh and Fit's been out there for a minute. He didn't watch Fresh and Fit day one. Like when Myron and Fresh would bring on women that they knew, and they would have real world conversations. We sitting at the table with a nurse. You got a registered nurse there. You have a realtor there, like a straight up, like a licensed real estate agent, a lawyer. These just women that they knew. There are women in the business world. Like in the beginning, it wasn't what it is now with the after hours. There were real conversations popping out. There would be a girl who was like in the entertainment business, like she was a stripper or whatever. You have a couple of them, but these were wiser women. These women were wise, and they were having real conversations about today's sexual dynamic. It was some really good information on Fresh and Fit. What he's talking about now, he's like, oh, you guys are going out here seeking these women. No, these women are seeking a spot on the Fresh and Fit platform. At the beginning, Myron and Fresh would bring in women that they knew. Right? But then it turned into they hire people to go source women. And these are the women who are raising their hands and doing everything they can to get there. Like, I want to be on there. And he just said, I'm not going to blame the women for coming on there trying to get clout and trying to, get men into their funnel. But we're going to blame the men. If you're going to blame the men, you got to blame the women. They're both doing the same thing. That's just what I'm looking at. They both doing the same thing, right? It can't be the men, the men are the bad guys, but these women are the victims. Nah, man, these women are doing their thing. You look at OF is the biggest trap for so many women. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with young women telling them to stay away from that. Stay away from that platform. Oh, but I can make all this money. Like, all you're gonna do is you're gonna put pictures of yourself out there, and it's gonna lessen you. It's gonna cheapen you because those pictures are always gonna be there. Well, no, they say that it's behind a paywall. And I'm like, no, the people who buy the pictures, they have the picture. They're gonna pay that money for a picture of you doing nasty things to yourself, and they have that picture. That picture's they're gonna be sending that to their friends. That picture's gonna wind up online. It's in the cloud. Like, don't do it. And I'm talking about beautiful women, like young, beautiful women. They want to get paid. So he's saying that this is all like Fresh and Fit has based their whole ideology on a subset of women. No, Myron and Fresh have been dealing with women in Miami, in Texas, right, in the islands where Fresh is from, right, up in New York and LA. They travel. They've been dealing with women from all over. Plus, all these women come to Miami. So, I mean, like the public offender brother, I would challenge him like, hey, man, you have to go back and look at content from way back in the day. And this is the biggest problem that Louis Theroux is having and the public offender is having. You can't shame and blame the men in this space and not blame the women. That's where it becomes disingenuous. Hey, bro, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, man. Like, if these Myron and Fresh or these dudes in the red pill, HS Tiki Taki or whatever, these are bad guys, but they have a legion of women lined up trying to get to them. They just lined up trying to get to them. There's a legion of women that can't wait to get into that seat on Fresh and Fit. And if anything, I'm like, okay, I get it. You're a hot woman out here. You trying to get guys to come over to your OF or come over to your page or whatever. I ain't mad at that. But damn, do a little bit of research, babe. Understand they're gonna ask you to name a few countries. Do some research. Be prepared. So when you do show up, you don't want to be the women. You don't want to be one of the women sat at the table that can't name countries on planet Earth. Like, you can't. It's just one of those things. And then people are like, oh my goodness, man, they're trapping these women. That's an ambush. It might have been an ambush the first time they did it. You can call it an ambush the first time they did it. The very first time they did it, about 3 or 4 years ago, the very first time they said name some countries, the very first time, all right. But after that, that's their bread and butter. That's all that's over, social media is on TikTok and Instagram, shorts and all that. You know what I mean? YouTube shorts. That's it. That's what they doing. So If a woman would have asked me, like, how do I get on Fresh and Fit? Like, just hit them up on Instagram, send them your, they'll see your Instagram, they'll reach out to you. But you better learn some countries. Better figure out some countries, because they might ask you on film, on camera, to name a few countries, man. So, learn a few. And again, when people look at that, you just trying to make the women look bad. That should make the entire educational system in the first world look bad. Damn, we got people sat at this table can't name these countries, and there are a lot of dudes out there that can't do it either. Tons of dudes. You go to college campuses, y'all seen the videos. You go to a college campus and ask some basic questions, and the kids on the college campus can't answer basic questions. They can't do it. So it ain't just Fresh and Fit, but this is why this particular documentary, Inside the Manosphere, in my opinion, backfires so horrifically, bro. This is why, man. Because you don't want to blame women. Shout out to brother Ian, man. Appreciate you, fam. Super sticker, man. What's up with you, bro? Appreciate you, man. We still got business to talk about, man. I try to help when I can, and this brother always supports me. This brother always supports me, man. So I'm always, you guys know I'm getting into the ebook space. I'm trying to figure that out, and I'm actually like making products just for him. And I'm not gonna promise that for everybody, but if you show me love now while we in the basement building our way up, I'm always gonna show you extra love. But I'm sitting there like doing my best to just take it to the next step and show that I appreciate the fact that this brother adds value, man. So appreciate you, brother Ian. But it's you can't blame one without blaming the other. It just, our whole society has shifted into a world that's just uncomfortable, and no one wants to talk about how uncomfortable it is. And it's not all the men. We're gonna blame all the men. And there's some guys out there in the red pill space. We're gonna blame all the women. There's plenty of blame to go around for both genders. That's just the point I want to make. There's plenty of blame to go around. And Louis Theroux and Chris Williamson is trying to, they're trying to delve into this world, and they're smart enough to know what's going on here, especially Chris Williamson. They're delving into this world. They just don't want to mess up their ties to mainstream America, to blue pill America. They don't want to mess up those ties. If you go on to Oprah, or you go on to, MSNBC or whatever, one of these platforms, and if they brought me onto MSNBC and they were having a conversation about the manosphere, and I just brought up the fact that, if I give an average guy, we could start with the fact that women don't see most men. Like, women do not see most men. They just don't. And it is what it is. Like, you're gonna have to be the best version of yourself just to be seen, first of all. And then if I bring up the fact that, hey, I could take an invisible guy and give him, one of those black cards, you know what I mean? Like one of those credit cards that make noise when they hit the ground. I could give him an unlimited credit card and send him out. And I'm guaranteeing you he's going to smash some of the finest women he's ever come across in his life right here in America. We ain't got to go to Colombia. We ain't got to go to Thailand or Brazil. We do it right here in America. And it's an uncomfortable truth. It's like, enough money will bring in tons of beautiful women here in America. Like, where you think all the sheiks and stuff from these oil nations like UAE, Dubai, and all that kind of stuff, Bahrain, they come here to get American women, and they buy them. They straight up just pay for it, bro. So I don't care, anyone who's watching right now, we were to go out right now. If we went out right now and we had unlimited funds, bro, we're going to be surrounded by more women than Dan Bilzerian or Hugh Hefner combined. If we have unlimited funds, and we don't even have to take them shopping or nothing. Like, just, hey, let's go have dinner at the finest restaurant. Let's go have lunch on the super yacht. We got Jeff Bezos' yacht. Yeah, we got his yacht. Let's go out here and have a little party on yacht, and then jump on the helicopter and, fly to the airport, then fly to Vegas. We can go to Vegas and kick it. I want to go to Vegas now. Vegas is having trouble, but, go to a casino, go someplace, like that, right? Then jump on the big plane, shoot over to UK. You could do all that in a 48-hour, 72-hour time span, bro. You don't think you smashing? You don't think women are going to be jumping on you every chance they get? Literally? Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. And there's nothing wrong with that. If I point that out, people will say, oh, you're a bad guy. That's not true. Not all women are like that. I didn't say all women, but I can definitely go out and get a bunch of women easily. And then you kind of get into the men of action thing with Mike Surtain, what he's doing. His thing is he just surrounds himself with beautiful women and has events. And bro, the women that are around him bring him more women. And that's the thing. If you come around like you the man, you putting on these events, you're in charge, people see you in charge, women notice that. Like, who's that guy? Why is everybody talking to him? Everybody wants to wait to talk to him and he's pointing at stuff and getting stuff done. They're going to come over and want to holler at you. They're going to talk to the other girls, find out who you are. And if you find, they'll be like, oh, I'll bring you over and introduce you. Hey, Saint, this is so-and-so. So-and-so, this is Saint. Hey, what's going on? And then she's going to be trying to get at you. She's not going to ask you if you're married. She's not going to ask you if you're involved in a relationship. She doesn't care. She's trying to get you, bro. Right? And it is what it is. And she will do something that night, provided you're not some weirdo. And even the weirdos be getting on like that, man. So when you point that out, when you tell society, you flash a light on that and say, listen, dudes with money get women. Doesn't mean that they're going to get long-term relationship. Doesn't mean they're not going to get their pockets run. You got women who are really good at just getting things and not giving you nothing in return. You got women who are good at that. You got women who don't care about sex. Like, man, I'll have sex with this guy just so he can give me $50,000. We were talking about that one woman. Like, if you want to date me, you got to pay me $50,000 a month to date me. What? That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now. You can't talk about that in mainstream media because they're not ready to deal with it right now. It's far easier just to say, hey, them blue pill guys, that's the boogeyman. Correction, the red pill guys, that's the boogeyman. Stay away from the boogeyman. Yeah, and it's definitely our educational system. We churn out people. You got people come out of high school, man, and they don't know continents. They can't, bro. You can watch some of those videos where they go to a college campus and they'll ask people what two countries fought in the American Civil War, and they can't name the two factions, right? I'm like, they told you half of it's the American Civil War. It's just a shame. Let's get back to the video.
It is utterly ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. It's supercilious, to say the least.
Quote, the findings consistently demonstrate that male victimhood beliefs are driven by perceived privilege loss rather than objective economic hardship. End quote. This is a paper by Professor Joan Kim that studies what she calls male ideology. Essentially is this growing belief that men are markets of gender discrimination. For example, a 2024 report finds that 60% of Gen Z men across 31 countries believe that women's equality discriminates against men. And a long-running survey of teenagers in the US finds that the percentage of American boys who agree completely that women should be paid the same for doing the same work as men fell from 72% in 2018 to 57% in 2023. And these patterns have been documented across the world, including in South Korea, where Professor Kim conducted this research, which ironically has the largest gender pay gap in the OECD.
That's where the spark. They think that's some shit. I saw a video today as well of a man in South Korea assaulting a woman on TV.
So if you're looking for the wildness, like the pay gap, right? I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. If a pay gap really did exist, if women got paid less than men to do the same job, men would never be hired. Why would I hire a man when I got to pay him more? Look at what's going on in society right now. Everyone's getting laid off, bro. Everyone's getting laid off. It's if you cost too much, you got to go. The whole pay gap thing, the way that they look at the numbers, men work longer and men work more overtime. Therefore, they get more money. They don't parse for that. They don't. If you're going to look at the pay gap, you just got to look at, okay, like I'm a retired air traffic controller. You take two air traffic controllers. One's a female, one's a male. When we get hired into the FAA, we make the same amount of money. You're on a pay scale. Now, as you progress in your career, you can make moves that's going to pay you more money or maybe pay you less money. I might, you got a man and a woman who are air traffic controllers. The guy might decide to, you know what, I'm going to go over here and work at Brackett Field, right? Out here in California or out there in California. You might have the woman might decide, you know what, I'm about to go to Miami. They both certified. She went to a level 12. He went to an ATC 5. She went to an ATC 12. Or whatever bracket is. I don't remember what it is right now. I just want to give you guys an example. She's gonna make way more money than he's gonna make. Her base pay way higher than his base pay. She's gonna have more options to work overtime. She's gonna, matter of fact, in today's world, she's gonna be forced to work overtime. Right? She's gonna be forced to work overtime, and there's gonna be more opportunities for her to move. She's gonna be able to take, supervisor jobs if she wants. She can take staff jobs if she wants. Right? She's gonna be able to do different things, which is gonna bring her more money. Now, I wouldn't say that, there's a pay gap. This woman is working, they got hired at the same time, and now this woman is making way more money than this guy. It's like, well, yeah, they work at different facilities. If the woman is willing to commit to her career and just work all the overtime, take all of the TDY missions, do all this kind of stuff, move up the ladder, right, and doesn't have kids, she's gonna make a lot of money. But at some point, if she stops to have children, she's not gonna be able to work as much. And then this guy Brackett might start inching up and catching her. But I really don't believe in a pay disparity. I don't believe there's a real pay gap. I just don't. And in the FAA, when you get into management, you have to negotiate pay. They'll offer you something and you have to say yes or no. And they say that women tend to be more agreeable than men. So now you got two people who become managers at the same facility with the same amount of time, and they have the exact same career, and they both got, they're being offered this position as a supervisor, and the woman agrees to take less pay for that job, and the guy's like, no, I'm not going to take that, and they pay him more for the same job. Well, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? They made them both the same offer. She said yes to the smaller amount of money. He said no to a smaller amount of money, so they paid him more. She could have said no, she would have got paid more. And then there's a cap. It can only take you so high. So you want to get as close to that cap as you possibly can. You got to negotiate. Whose fault is that? Right? So, I mean, it's just what it is. Yeah, man, $50,000 a month to date her and she your age, man, that's crazy. AI is definitely making things worse, bro. Worse. Absolutely. So when I hear all that, man, again, we pay disparity and, you got the patriarchy talk and all that. And I'm sure women have some issues, but the manosphere is not set up to talk about female issues. It's set up to talk about male issues. The manosphere is set up to help men get what they're trying to get. That's what the manosphere is about. Why are we talking about pay disparity and all this other kind of stuff when the guys are just trying to figure out how to date? Myron Gaines is talking about the sexual marketplace. Right? So again, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? This is why this documentary failed.
Like, you get little glimpses like that. Little glimpses like that, kind of, because I'm not in South Korea, but when you hear that, when you hear the gender pay gap, how wide it is in South Korea, and then you listen to the South Korean women's stories, and then you see a man assault a woman on national television in South Korea, I go, okay. Yeah.
I lived in South Korea back in 1993. Why are we talking about what's going on in South Korea? Do you see where I'm going? Like, all this stuff is just all the way over here. Why are we talking about what's going on in South Korea? That's not going on here in America. Assault a woman on TV, you're going to prison. 100%, you ain't getting out of it. Like, there's no way you getting out of it. You ain't getting a deal. You ain't getting parole, bro. You doing a max for whatever that assault is. Korea is a whole different culture, man. A whole different way of doing business. A whole nother reality.
Has the largest gender pay gap in the OECD. And her findings really shed light on this disconnect, as she finds that this male victimhood mentality that blames women's gains for men's perceived struggle to get ahead was actually most pronounced among among men from higher socioeconomic backgrounds, concluding, quote, male victimhood discourse is embraced most by those who perceive a loss of privilege rather than by those who are marginalized. Along those lines, her research also found that men who had lower incomes, who had less education, who were unemployed, were no more likely to identify with these male victimhood beliefs than their male peers who were better off. And these patterns were absent in relative to their male peers under similar conditions. In fact, research consistently finds that men and women alike significantly underestimate the extent of gender inequality that discriminates against women, chronically overestimating metrics like progress toward equal pay and their representation in positions of power in cold labor and violence against women.
And also how every product is made for a man.
I really don't understand this part. Like, I really don't understand this part. I thought we were talking about the documentary. What happened? We just made a, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just made a left. Like, what's going on here? What are we talking about? And when it's like all products are made for men and not for women, I would honestly ask the brother, like, what are you talking about? Like, explain. Who spends more in America on goods and services, men or women? Women do. Women spend more money. They spend more money. Single women outspend just about everybody, bro. They spend more money. Therefore, corporations are going to target women. They want women to spend. That's just business. Like, I don't understand this part. And again, what does this have to do with guys becoming visible? What does this have to do with guys learning how to talk to women? What does this have to do with male improvement? Like, when I talk to guys in the manosphere, bro, no one in the manosphere is saying, oh, I want women to fail. No one's saying that. No one's even thinking about that. You got some guys out here who just there's some loser dudes over there. You got guys over there who don't even want to try hard. They're looking to blame others, whoever. It could be women, right? It could be foreign people. It could be black people. They're looking to blame whoever. Them dudes, they're over there. Y'all stay over there. But for the guys who are trying to become the best versions of themselves, the guys who are really trying to improve, like, those guys are just like, hey, man, what do I got to do? Like, yeah, hit the gym. All right, I'm in the gym. All right, now what I got to do? Let's work on your wardrobe. Right? You got to get more social. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to break the ice. Man, I'm real shy. You're going to have to get over that. Fam, you're going to have to get over that. You can't be shy, man. You're going to have to be able to strike up a conversation. All right, a lot of these dudes is like, bro, when you get into a conversation, let her talk. Let her talk. Just listen to what she's saying, and, but don't dominate the conversation. Let her talk and listen to what she's saying so you can talk about it later. These are the things that guys are learning. These are the things. Like, well, a lot of guys like, man, I want a virgin and this and that. I'm like, bro, now y'all getting into some weirdness. When it comes to that virginity, I'm like, I don't think there are a lot of virgins out there, bro. Past 18, I don't think you're going to get too many, especially if the girls went to college. They're going to do what they do, right? So I don't get into that, right? So, but what you want to do is you want to find a woman who's not too open. You want to find, want to see what she got going on. She had 4 or 5 boyfriends before you. Okay, cool. But was she out there, just slinging it like a Kai Singh's wife? Was she out there, popping her pee with the frat boys? You want to stay away from that if you can. Well, how can I tell? Look at her social media. Is it open? Is it to the public? Does she have a private account? What kind of pictures are she posting? It's certain things that you can look at, like, she got mad crazy tattoos, piercings, and all that kind of stuff, man. Stuff you want to look at. That's something, Now, simply because she has tattoos doesn't mean she's loose. Because she has piercings doesn't mean she's like sexually crazy with it. But, you want to pay attention. Is that something you want to rock with? Well, I don't really like tattoos. All right, then why you talking to her? Oh, man, she crazy, man. She gave me the best sex. All right, cool. If that's what you're doing, but, you don't fall in love with her, stay away from strippers. Right? Strippers could teach you a lot, but you don't want to be in a relationship with one. So many dudes fall into relationships, especially Marines. I don't know why United States Marines love strippers, bro. It's just something that they do. They love strippers. But no one over there, most of the guys that I encounter are simply trying to better themselves, and they're trying to understand how the game works today. Well, why are we talking about the 4B movement in Korea? Why are we talking about the wealth gap again, which I don't think exists, but okay. Why are we talking about that? I mean, women right now are out earning their male counterparts in most major cities. At least they were. Now everybody's getting laid off. But before the layoffs, before Trump came in, women were killing it. So women are killing it, but it's a wealth gap. It's a pay gap. I don't understand that. Women are graduating in higher numbers from college than men are. Okay, cool. I tell dudes all the time, like, college might not be for you, bro. You might want to go to a trade school, become a plumber. Right? Ebony K. Williams, when asked, said, would you date a bus driver? And Ebony K. Williams' answer was, if he owned a bus. I'm not going to just date a bus driver. I don't care how perfect he is. He loves me. He's doing everything for you. He's right there. I'm not going to date a bus driver. Why? Because he's not making enough money or his status isn't perceived high enough for me. Okay, that's fine. Ebony K. Williams, I ain't mad at her. That's what she wanted to do. But that goes into the hypergamous part of mate selecting. And people don't like to hear that. Right? People don't like to hear that. So it's like, hey, man, she's telling the truth. So as a guy, it's like, you could be a bus driver and you can smash women like Ebony K. Williams, but they ain't going to want to, do anything with you long term. That's just part of the game. If you want a woman like that, you're going to have to level up. You have to start making a lot of money. You're going to have to, maybe get into the corporate game or something, like own some businesses. Right? And given the opportunity, a lot of women, given the opportunity, they would much rather be with a junior associate with some firm, some high prestige firm, than be with a guy who owns his own plumbing company. And the guy that owns a plumbing company might be, making 7 figures. The junior associate, he might be making $200,000-$300,000 a year. She'd rather do with that because, again, prestige and all that. That's part of the game, and that's what they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. There, bro. Hey, man. Strippers would be a lot of fun, man, but I'm telling you now, don't do it. Don't do it. Strippers, man. Strippers and crazy girls, man. They have the absolute best sex. I think that's Mother Nature's way of keeping the crazy gene in the gene pool, because crazy girls, man, they got the best, bro. I'm here to tell you, the best.
Right? So on and so on and so on.
You want to know the craziest part about the Louis Fruit documentary? It was the part where Louis goes to Miami and he interviews these two fans of this red pill influence, right? And they talk about how they to Miami hard, and their part was how they don't believe in mental health, right? And red pill kind of teaches, or some of these guys teach you that mental health is not real. Like, man up, right? You got this. And you could tell these guys are going for.
They teach you to go to they teach you to go your money. They don't have any answers on how to make money. They sign up for my business or whatever program, and then you never go watch. When he said that, when it was just like I was homeless, and and I was living in my car for the first 6 months of me being here, it's been really hard, and and you look at him and you look at him like working out, and he's trying to be something that he's not. And it was very sad. That was it. Like for me, in that was like the most touching part.
And you could,
like, here's the thing. I understand the take. Again, this is a guy who's not part of that world. When these dudes say they don't believe in depression isn't real, that goes back to one of Andrew Tate's first viral moments he ever had. And this was on Fresh and Fit, when Andrew Tate was like, depression isn't real. If you go back and watch the episode, and it was 2 hours, I think it was 2 hours, maybe a little over 2 hours, and Tate explained what he was talking about. It's like, yeah, depression is real, but if you fall for it and allow yourself to be a victim, it will completely consume you. You have to take the mindset that this is not real. I'm going to push out of this. I'm going to go out here and go to work. That's what that was about. Like depression isn't real. Depression is very real. Depression is always there, man. It'll sneak up on you. If you're not on guard, man, it'll come up and it'll surround you, bro. It'll wrap you up like a snake and begin to squeeze. Like you have to be on guard for it. You have to. And I'm here to tell you it's a lot easier to deal with depression when you're making money and you can afford to do what you want to do, as opposed to you've been caught up in like the family law system and you're paying out $30,000 a year in child support. Sometimes guys are paying money in child support for children that aren't theirs. That's when the depression really begins to wrap you up and starts to strangle you. But you have to push through that, even if it means living in your car. I don't know why I don't know why this brother watching this, public offenders watching this, and his mind is blown that a guy was living in his car. You know how much it costs to live in America these days? Americans can't afford to live in America. That's just the thing. So a dude could live in his car. And he says they don't tell you what to do. They tell you to go out and earn. Go figure it out. Yeah, there are people out there saying, take my course and this and that. But when they say go to work, Myron says it all the time. Guys are like, oh, you know, this how much money I make a month. I'm working this job. You know, how can I put away money so I can get my first house? And the first thing Myron and Fresh will say is like, bro, you got an income problem. You got to go work some more. So if you got a car, make some money doing Uber just to bring some money in. If you can do that, go out and get a second job. This is what they're telling, like, go out and make more money. It's not like, oh, you got to go out and be a G. You got to go out and start a corporation and become the next billionaire. Like, nah, man, but you got to go out and work. Why you sitting in the house? Figure out if you're going to sit in the house, maybe you got editing skills. Market yourself as an editor and edit people's shorts and videos and stuff like that. Make some money there. As a guy, you should be working as hard as you possibly can. You should sleep, get up, and then you should be working all day. Work out, work. Go hit the gym, then go to work. I tell people all the time when I got out of the Army, I always had 3 jobs. I had 2 full-time jobs, always. And then I would have a side hustle. So I had my 2 full-time jobs. I was a janitor at a high school. I did that. And then I get off work from there and I would go work another full-time job. They will always rotate. I had a job when I was doing credit granting for this company until that job got shipped off to India. I had a job when I was working in a bank. I was doing wire transfers in a bank, you know, and again, that job's kind of gone away because now I got Cash App and all the other kind of things. But I would work at Walmart. I had some job where I was working in some factory making this huge machine that would mold stuff. I'm just sitting there watching the machine. I would have 2 full-time jobs, and then I would have a side hustle. And back then, my side hustle was the music business. I would go out there, I would manage groups, and I would go out there and do street promotions, and I was doing stuff like that. Always. I was always working my butt off. That's what young men need to be doing. But young men are cut from a different cloth today. A lot of guys believe they should be entitled. I shouldn't have to work this hard. You have to work this hard, bro. If you're trying to get ahead, America has changed. You're not just going to get hired on at the factory anymore and be able to work at the factory, marry your high school sweetheart, have a couple kids, and then be able to buy a house and take a trip to Kings Island once a year. You know, you can't do that anymore. Americans cannot afford to live in America right now. So you really got to get out here and make some money. And that's what, this guy was like, I'm living in my car. Yeah, that saves in Miami. That saves at a minimum. He saved at least between $1,500 and $1,800 a month just by living in his car. At just off rip. Just right there. You save that much money by living in your car. Because Miami is expensive. And the 2 dudes they were talking to, like 2 Latinos, man, they saw Justin Waller. The one guy he got emotional when he saw him. He was like, man, you know what I mean? Like, you're my hero. I look up to you, bro. And Justin's like a smooth Southern gentleman, bro. And like Justin's good when he talks to these guys. And he's very upfront and honest when you talk to him. And like the camera crew went back to circle back to talk to these 2 guys. These are young dudes. And the one guy lost his brother. His brother took his own life. You know what I mean? He's looking at that and he's trying to deal with that. And what this guy's doing is he's trying to figure out a way to build himself up to become successful so he doesn't, follow the path of his brother. He wants to put that all behind him. He doesn't want to forget about his brother, but he wants to put that all behind him. So he's out here and he's doing what most people won't. He's getting up and he's moving to the other side of the country or going to another city, starting with nothing and building himself up. And you got people like Justin and some of these red pillars are like, bro, you can do it. You can do it, man. Go wash dishes over here. Someone like Brandon Carter. Brandon Carter used to work, bro. He used to work like, he would say he worked almost 20 hours out of a 24-hour day. Sleep for 4 hours and go right back to work again when he was young. Brandon Carter managed to pull himself up, man. He's doing really well right now. And these dudes can do it. And that's what you hear in the red pill, like, man, you can do it. There are guys within the red pill world like, hey, man, I got this job over here. If you want to come over here, you can come and just dig ditches. You can come over here and just be a general worker, come over here and, move bags. There's ways to make money. And within that red pill space, the guys who really want to get after it, man, they're becoming successful. They'll get a job. Like, hey, man, I got a job up here in Kentucky. If you can get up here to Kentucky, I got a job up here, man. We'll pay you $30 an hour. It's manual labor. These dudes are getting their car and drive up there and get that money. That's what the red pill is really trying to show these guys, man. Yeah, and Andrew Tate said as much. If you watch the entire documentary, that episode he did, is like, yeah, depression is real, and it'll kill you if you let it. His whole thing about saying depression is not real, that's the mindset that he used to push through the depression. And that's what he's saying. Cody's King is in the building, man. What's happening, fam? There we go. And Cody is right. That was Andrew Tate's thing. It was like, yeah, life sucks. That's why you sad. You got to push through it. Absolutely. Life ain't really fair like that, man. And that was the message. But again, people take the clips. They take the they take the little clips. It goes viral. Tate didn't care. That launched his career right there on Fresh and Fit. That was one of the first times that Andrew Tate went viral. So when I hear this and the public offender is like, oh, wow, that was sad. It is sad. But guess what? As a dude, you're going to have to push through that. These guys on the beach working out, they're getting it in. They're working out hard. They got each other's back, and they're going to be successful. They're going to be successful. And then once they do get the money, when they look up, when they're in their 30s and they've made it, they got money, they bought their properties, they're doing their thing. The red pill also tells you, be careful of the women you bring into your world. Because it took you so much to build that up. You bring in the wrong woman, she will destroy it all. And then people say, oh, there you go, you're knocking women. If you bring the wrong people into your camp, they'll destroy it. But why are we talking about the women? Because that's the first thing guys go to get, man. They want to get themselves a woman. I'm going to give me a woman who's going to help me out. Akash Singh. I keep going back to Akash. Look what Akash Singh's wife is doing right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the videos. I got a bunch of videos on it. Look at what Akash Singh's wife is doing right now to him. And it could be very detrimental to everything he's built. You bring in the wrong woman, she can destroy everything. You bring in the right woman, she can 1000x everything you're doing. So you want to get the right woman. How do you know the difference? Experience. Experience.
Tell these guys are going for it. You could tell they're trying to put up an act. And the worst part is when, he talks about how mental health's not real. And then he talks about how his brother had taken his own, life. Yo, it's almost like it was scripted. That's how crazy it was. It's almost like it was scripted. It couldn't be more in your face. You know what I mean?
And they were like, oh, I love this guy so much. Like when they met the guy who was like, like ahead of the top of the pyramid scheme.
Yeah, Justin.
They were like, oh, we watch all your videos. He was pulling up in his Lamborghini.
And Justin wasn't the head of the pyramid scheme. Justin Waller has a company that they build, they put steel on buildings. Is he making money by pushing people into one of Tate's groups? Yeah, he doing that. I guess they're still doing that. Right. But I've been around Justin more than a handful of times. In fact, one of the guys, Justin he played D1 college football, and one of my homies played on the same team and was telling me all about Justin. I'm like, all right, cool. He gave me the rundown, like, yo, for real, this is what this dude's all about. All right, cool. right? But Justin ain't never asked me for nothing. Justin ain't like get into my group with this and that. Justin like, what's up, man? Let's go get a drink. Let's talk. And you ask him anything. Right? So to say, oh, he's at the top of the pyramid again, these are shots being fired one way. And it's like, bro, you don't even know. There are plenty of guys who are doing that. There are plenty of people. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Patrick Bet-David, but his people reached out to me right away trying to get me to, pay and get into one of their little funnels. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not trying to do that. I ain't got nothing to do with none of that. I'm an entertainment guy. I thought, and they hit me up under the guise that we're going to talk about the entertainment part of valuetainment. All right, cool. I'll take that call. I get on the call with them. I say, oh, y'all trying to sell me something? Like, no, I'm not trying to do that. If you need some help or you need someone that's going to come in to help produce some of your content, or you need someone who's going to go out here and help, bring in talent, I can do that for you. We can have that conversation. But no, I'm not trying to invest in that. and shout out to PBD. But I'm not spending no money on that. Right. But Justin never hit me up for anything. Justin never asked me for a dime. And we'll answer every question. We sat on a boat with Fresh and Fit, did this yacht party thing, but it was, just a big party boat. We sat there for an hour just talking, and all the guys were coming around talking. It was man stuff. It was dudes coming together, bro, breaking bread. It was a beautiful thing. And this is what these guys need more than anything else. They need to be around men. But to sit there and say, oh, he's at the top of the pyramid, nah, man, that guy has a business. Look him up. Look him up.
That was very, very sad. That was very sad, but it also is very, very common. Like, those are the men that I deal with the most when you're talking about the red pill. You're dealing with very hurt men. And like me, myself, I talked about, like how I was by a single mother. I have a friend raised by a single mother. And he also was raised by a single mother, never knew his father, all those things. And I want to know what happened. But like, I want to know like why. Because I definitely give my wife all the props for, explaining stuff. Like, she was the first person to talk to me about intersectionality. You know what I'm saying? And being like, oh, how white people make you feel? Like, yeah. Like, they ain't raising them. Like, yeah. And then she was like, that's what sexism is like. That's what misogyny is like, but for women. Like, instead of a white person oppressing you, it's men oppressing women. I was like, what? Like, she was, she was like the first person to put me on to that. But also got to be fair that like many women have had those conversations with their men, and the men still didn't adhere to that. They still didn't cling to that. They still didn't internalize it, but I did. And my question is, why? Why? And my friend is really smart. He's really intelligent. He's way more educated than I am, all the things, but he's like very adverse to that. And I don't know what that is. I really don't. I've been racking my brain to figure it out, but I haven't gotten to the bottom of it. But
that has nothing to do with the red pill and everything to do with his homie. And everybody, you talk about single moms. There's nothing wrong with single mothers. Like, single mothers are amazing women. Like, they doing what they can do in their situation. Are there some bad actors in the single mother world? Yeah. Are there women out there who are just bad people? Yeah, 100%. They're out there. But the average, in my experience, especially talking about black women, the average woman that I came across, the single moms, they had their shit together, bro. Taking care of business, taking care of their kids. And they'll be the first one to tell you, like, I can't raise a boy. I can't teach this boy how to be a man. The problem isn't single mothers. The problem is not having male influence for your boys, for your male child, not having male leadership role models there. So like, oh boy, say, his homeboy didn't know his dad. All right, cool. But did he have uncles? Did he have cousins? Did he have coaches? You need male influences on these young men. That's what you need. And a lot of these young men don't have it, and they're going to seek it out. And where are they finding these leadership figures? Where are they finding these mentors? In the red pill space. Or there's some bad actors? Yep. Or there's some good actors? Yep. You know what I mean? There definitely is. Tarus. We were talking about Akash. The thing with Akash is the epitome of the blue pill man. Akash is the guy who's done it all right. Akash is the guy, he has his Disney fairy tale. And he's gonna pay for it now. Like that, the thing with Akash, like Akash wanted a good Indian girl who has, a similar background in himself, that's beautiful, that's cool, that he wants to marry. So he found this beautiful Indian chick, but he stopped there. And this is what I tell guys all the time, like, bro, you have to keep your emotions in check. And look at someone like Akash, like how many Indian, people of Indian descent, and I'm by India, I mean from India, are here in America. That has to be a very, very small community. And here's a guy who's out here doing comedy, right, which is predominantly, occupied with young white men, right? For all the black comics you see out there, think about it, man. For every Dave Chappelle, man, there's probably 10,000 white boys who tried to be a comic. So, and they're all out there. So so he's in this this entertainment bubble, this very awkwardly white thing, and he's trying to do his thing. He sees this beautiful Indian girl, and he's able to get a relationship with her. And he didn't vet, from what I can tell. He didn't vet her. He just saw her. She started talking to him. He was just so happy. He wasn't really making money at the time, but then he started making his money, and then he became successful. She stuck with him. Now they're on top, and he's blowing so much money on her to make her happy. I think the vast majority of men fall into that category. Men just want, they meet the woman that they want, they fall in love right away, and they'll do anything and everything to keep her happy. That's where Akash is right now. That's where he is right now. And he will be happy with her no matter what she does. She could be out banging dudes. I'm not saying that's what she's doing, but he wouldn't care. Right? You've seen the videos. If you guys haven't seen the videos, you got to go out. You got to go back and watch what she's been doing. He's right there. He does not care. There's so many dudes like that. So many guys. And they'll complain, man, I wish she would stop spending my money. I wish she would stop hanging out with these other guys. I wish she was this. I wish she was that. But so long as she comes home, he's happy. And it's so many dudes like that. The red pill's like, hey, man, you don't want to be that. And Akash is a guy who financially he's there. He can pretty much get whatever, any woman he wanted, but he allowed himself to fall in love with the wrong one. So he's going to have to deal with this. And I ain't going to lie to you. I think this is going to go the way the 50% of marriages in America, we accept 50, but I think the real number's around 46% of marriages fail. I think he's going to fall into that 46%, wherever it is. And he's going to lose half of his net worth, maybe 2/3. And she's going to come up. She's going to get the condo. She's going to be able to keep all of her jewelry, all of her bags, all of her clothes. She's going to get alimony. They don't have any kids. If they had kids, then she would get child support as well. That's another thing. Like, why don't y'all have kids? Why don't she have his kid? Maybe she doesn't want to. I don't know. You know what I mean? But they dude is really, Akash is really, you go ahead and call him beta. Brother Michael's in the building. What's happening, Phil? How you feeling? How you feeling, man? Cope approach is going off on. Hey, man, I think the public offender is just a regular dude. He's a dude that got himself, it sounds like he got himself a good woman. Every community is different. Just listen to this guy. I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure he knows how to talk to women. He has his woman and like, oh, she explained to me what it's like. Okay, cool. All right, I internalized it. Okay. Right, whatever that means. But my friend refused to internalize it. Again, whatever that means. Right? It is what it is. So many people believe that helping men means hurting women or vice versa. And that's not the case. That's not the case. Men need help right now. Women don't need as much help right now. Men need help right now. We don't want the pendulum to swing all the way to the other side to where women start getting neglected. We don't want that. Men are being neglected right now, men and boys. And the biggest thing is there's a lack of male leadership, a lack of male um, uh, um, guidance in the community. Right? There are no role models. When I was coming up, bro, like I definitely had a relationship with my dad, but I had relationships with all of the grown men in the neighborhood. We truly had a village to help raise the kids. Right. So we had plenty of male role models. Like, okay, cool. I could be like Mr. Johnson over there. He got, and all his kids grew up and did good things. No one got arrested over there. No one was doing anything crazy. I could be like Mr. Johnson and them. Or, you know what I mean? There's Miss Sarah over there with 6 kids and 4 or 5 baby daddies. And, you know, the police are always in there and it's always drama. And now we grown and these kids out here gangbanging, these kids out here slanging, these kids out here, they ain't no good. And then the girls she had having babies at 14, 15 years old. This was on the same block. This, you know what I mean? Like, hey, okay, this was on the same block. So young boys need men to show them the way. No one's going to church anymore. So you don't have the preachers, you don't have the deacons, right? You don't have the men who are, you know, involved in the kid fellowships and all that. You don't have vacation Bible school. People ain't going to school. Boy Scouts ain't a thing no more. I was at the Boy Scouts, I had the troop leaders, right? There were always men around to give examples on how to be a man, good and bad. Good and bad. Maybe that's why I don't have a problem with what's going on in the Manosphere, because I see the good and bad. I've always seen the good and bad. You can choose. Do you want to be the Jedi or you want to be the Sith? Because they're all down there. You can choose. The choice is yours. That's why I don't have a problem with it. I've seen both sides, good and bad. I've danced on both sides of the line. I've done really good things. I've done horrific things. I've done both. But I've always known that it's on me. If I get caught, I'm out here doing something, right? If I get caught, I'm gonna have to sit down. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. I learned that from some real hustlers, right? Some other hustlers told me to get out of these streets, but you don't belong in these streets, man. You don't want to be down here, bro. And if you stay down in these streets and something happen, you know, you become food. Don't think I'm your friend. If I see you inside, I'm shit, bro. You food. And they told me that. Fair warning. Right? They told me that. So when I look at this, I think the biggest problem is, again, they don't want to talk about this. You will have to sit down and say that women need help raising boys. They don't want to hear that. I can be the man. I can do everything. And then you look at the numbers like, nah, your son's gonna need some help because you can't show him. It's like, I'm a single dad. I have a daughter. I can't teach my daughter how to be a woman, but I surround her with good women, and she has her mom. So she's surrounded by examples. Like, this is how you want to be. Where do I come in? With fashion or whatever. My daughter's walking around with some stuff. I'm like, that's too revealing. You can't wear that outside. You don't want to wear that outside. And I'll sit down and talk to my daughter. Like, why would you put that on? I want to get into her head. What are you thinking? Is this something that you saw and you want to be like that? Did you see someone get some attention? Maybe you want some more attention. Why would you do that? Most of the time, it's just like, I didn't notice. My daughter just didn't notice. She's growing. She's growing. It's like, I just didn't notice, Papa. I'm like, okay. She's like, I noticed later and I realized it was, you know, I was trying to, she always wears big baggy hoodies, so she can always cover herself up. But I was like, okay, be mindful of these sort of things. Because remember, that brings the wrong kind of attention. You're like, you're right, Papa. She listens. You got to talk to your kids. But as a man, I can't tell her the female side. I can just only give her a male perspective, and I can bring good women around her. And this is what you'll have to talk about. If you're going to talk about the Manosphere, you're going to talk about why these young boys are drawn to the Manosphere, you're going to have to give them an alternative. Professor Scott Galloway talks about that. You're going to have to, you can talk about Andrew Tate until you're blue in the face, but you have to offer up an alternative. In the mainstream blue pill side of the world can't offer up an alternative. Not yet. They can't, because in their mind is just one way: red pill bad. All the guys in the red pill are bad. It's like, okay, you saying I'm bad? All right, fine, that's cool. But now you telling your son to stay away from me. You saying I'm bad. That's pushing him towards me. And you better hope he comes and holler at me as opposed to holler at some of these other bad actors. So that's the problem. That's That's what the blue pill hasn't figured out yet. You better hope your son runs into a Michael Sartain, because Michael Sartain will sort him out and give him some good. You want him to run into Michael Sartain as opposed to running into some of these other bad actors. So, but it just blows my mind. Like, they talk about single moms. There's nothing wrong with single mothers. And then red pill's like, oh man, you shouldn't date a single mother. I'm like, well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're gonna date a single mother, understand what could happen if the relationship doesn't work. To me, that's what the red pill is all about. A lot of guys are like, what am I worried about? I ain't gonna have to pay. I ain't got no kids. I ain't gonna have to pay child support. Like, well, you could. You could find yourself on a hook paying child support for children that aren't yours. That could happen, and it does. No, that doesn't happen. Yeah, it's equitable estoppel. I think that's the legal term for it. Look it up. It can happen. The court can say you're the only parent that child or them children have ever known. You're the only dad. Therefore, you're going to have to keep financially supporting them. Done. You're the legal father. So you're going to be paying for the remainder until they turn 18. It can happen. Now, if you're okay with that, move out smartly. But don't get into that situation thinking, oh, I didn't know. Nah, the red pill done told you. And don't turn around and get mad at women and single moms because it didn't work out for you. That's the choice you made. Let's get back to the video.
No, without a doubt, there is a common denominator in the red pill movement, and that is fatherless children, men, boys that were not raised with fathers, or they were raised with unstable fathers. Without a doubt. Call it fatherless behavior or bad daddy behavior, either one.
So let's talk about this
But there's no bad mama behavior? Damn, son. That's crazy, fam.
documentary for a little bit. I just watched Inside the Manosphere, and I was expecting to see a whole bunch of red pill ideology and misogynist talking points, but I also saw something a little bit more revealing, that it's essentially all a grift. Reminder that I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page, so follow along if you like that stuff and want to hear more. This documentary sums up what the shit Sunday is, that is the Manosphere. Allow me to explain it for you. So the foundation is to pander hate, to target young, disenfranchised boys and young men who maybe don't have a stable home life and are feeling incredibly isolated and lonely.
To me, the red pill, the best way I can describe red pill is the Foot Clan, right? If you guys are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans like I am, remember the very first one in America that came to America, the film, the OG, one of the best movies of all time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Foot Clan. Remember the Foot Clan. If you don't remember the Foot Clan, I'll tell you. The Foot Clan, they were formed by this guy named Shredder. Shredder was the antagonist in the movie, right? Shredder's a badass. And Shredder, he built an army, a army, right? And all of his soldiers were teenage wayward kids that were disgruntled with their home life. Their daddies didn't understand them. Their mommies didn't understand them. They were neglected. They were abandoned. But that's who he targeted. And he gave them a sense of being. He gave them a place to call home, and so on and so on and so on. And for that, they did anything and everything he told them to do. Also, he ruled with fear, a part of which red pillars do as well. But that's what the red pill feels like to me. It feels like the Foot Clan.
And then the toppings they're going to confirm how shitty and unvaluable and terrible and weak you are. And then the whipped cream and the cherry on top. Well, there's actually a reason you're feeling this way. And I know exactly what it is.
Women are still in all your rights.
It's women.
Not wealth inequality or systemic oppression. It's feminism. Duh. The only way that you can eat that sundae is if you listen to their podcast, or if you buy their course, or if you take their supplements. Rinse and repeat. Now, here's the irony that I am kind of sitting with after watching this. A lot of the subjects have really difficult home lives themselves and grew up with either single mothers or absent fathers. And now they're kind of performing a version of masculinity that they never received. What's worse is that they are repeating the cycle of violence, if not making it worse. Here's why I say that. I don't know if any of these influencers actually believe this shit. Every single one of the subjects said in one way or another that if they are pissing someone off, they are doing their job, and that they will violate any kind of ethical or moral boundaries they may have had if it gains them money and attention. And it's become a self-perpetuating nightmare of going viral because you say hateful shit and saying hateful shit because you go viral. It honestly seems like their personalities and opinions are completely modeled off of what gets them the most clout. To put it simply, I would say that the Manosphere is not a movement. It is a trauma response with a Venmo link. Disaffected young men are a major cultural pain point around the world, and the Red Pill movement pokes at that pain point just right. This is a product of a few men who discovered how to monetize their unprocessed childhood issues. Women right now are the most convenient thing to blame because they're too scared to look at what actually hurt them. So the next time you see any of these men, just remember that all of these men were raised by a woman. And maybe, just maybe, they never forgave her for not being a man.
Okay. Okay. Everyone is looking again. They want it's the guy fault. Even her last statement right there. All these dudes were raised by a woman, and so Myron Gaines was raised by his mom and dad. H.S. Tiki Taki was raised by his mom, and like H.S. Tiki Taki appears that his dad is black. So Justin Wallace said, yeah, he had a hard childhood. His mom had some issues, like was burned down. They were living in a trailer. Like she allegedly burned down a couple of the trailers for money, and she allegedly would like punch, him and his siblings or whatever. Okay. Sneeko, I don't know Sneeko's story. I don't know if he had a mom and dad in the picture, but I know he had access to his grandparents. What she just said is like, okay, so wouldn't it be their fault? If you're looking to assign blame and you're saying, well, these guys are broken because they didn't have male influence, then it's like, okay, well, why didn't they have male influence? Right? There are women out there who will do everything in their power to keep the men out of their, the father out of the child's life. Most of the time, I ain't gonna say most of the time, a lot of the time it has to do with money or control. Like I'm gonna make you pay child support or whatever. I'm gonna keep you the way we set up child support. Again, I call it evil. We monetize children. In order for you to get the max payout in child support, you have to take access from one parent away from the child. The more access you take away from that parent, the more money that parent has to pay. That's an evil system. But listen to what she just said. If you got to blame someone, we're not blaming the single mom. We're not even asking what happened. It's these guys are mad because they didn't have men in their life. Bro, Tarus, we talked about that before. DL, it's one thing to be an entertainer, but their brand is being their authentic self. Well, I mean, it is what it is, man. Like young people are watching this. They're not watching TV anymore. We were watching Different Strokes and Family Ties and whatnot. They're watching this. Cable's gone away. Regular TV has gone away. I blame the homes. There are a lot of guys who come out of a two-family home. They're drawn to the Manosphere. Why? And you ask them, it's like, man, my dad's really weak. My dad is really soft. My dad couldn't, he couldn't show me how to shoot a basketball. Couldn't show me how to hit he never took me out to play catch. Stuff like that. My dad's not an athlete. He does whatever my mom says. And these kids don't like it. They're like, well, damn, I wish my dad had a backbone. It's like, hey, man, it is what it is. You need to have that conversation with your pops. What do you want me to tell you? Go talk to your pops about that. Right? But you're your own man now. What are you going to do about it? Like, whose fault is it? Is it your dad's fault? Is it your mom's fault? Does it even matter? You're grown now, son. You know what I mean? So you got to figure it out. You might need to just go away, man. Go join the military or something. I used to tell people, especially before this war, I'm like, join the military. Now, it's still good advice. Like, join the military. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, be all you can be. Join the army. We do more before 6 a.m. than most people do their whole life. It was just funny. The commercial they used to do for the army. It's an airborne commercial. Join the Marine Corps, join the Navy, join the Air Force, join some. Go out and see the world on your own, make your own determinations, and then come back and make a decision. Like, well, I might wind up fighting. Yeah, you might. I mean, I went. It is what it is. I managed to get through it. But you can't go after the manosphere and say all these dudes are bad, but at the same time, not want to hold any women accountable for their actions. You just can't do it. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. It's crazy. Let's keep going.
Wicked work. And when you realize it, right? When you realize it as a man, when you didn't start to talk about this, is kind of like what happened to me. It is. It truly is.
Dude, I just watched the Manosphere. That is the funniest TV show I have ever seen in my life. Every time my chick friends go to me, I was like, man, men out there are fucked. They suck. I was on a date. That guy sucked. I'm like, no. Things are changing. Give us time. Everything's changing. And then you watch that and you go, yeah, no, I can see all your points now. It's just a bunch of guys like, man, being a man is like going to the gym, getting a Lambo. How good was that guy that had the chessboard in the background? It's like, brother, you have never.
You ever go to a Manosphere event? If you ever go to a Red Pill event, that's all they do is play chess. Again, this is another dude. These guys have no idea what's going on. I challenge the dudes like, man, go to one of the events. Go talk to some of these cats. Promise you, you'll have more in common with these dudes than you'll agree on more things than you disagree on. I promise you that. And when it comes time to sit down to talk about women, that's when it comes out. These guys want to white knife for these girls, but it's like, hey man, you telling me you've never seen a woman do that? Well, I've seen some women. All women ain't like that. We didn't say all women. Just ask you, have you ever seen this happen in the real world? Like, yeah, I've seen it happen before. Has it ever happened to you? Well, I was really young, so it happened to you. Well, just saying, bro. That's it, man. This is just how it is. But I wanted to stop it there, man. That's the one thing that blew my mind. Whenever there's a Red Pill event, bro, you're gonna see chess. You're gonna see chess boards, man. These boys will break out the chess and start playing. They won't even be looking at the women who were at the events. They're sitting there playing chess. Mine and Fresh and Fit's first event. That's what happened, bro. We had some hood spot. It was all jacked up in the beginning. Dudes were playing chess in this hood spot. I'm like, these dudes don't even know where they at. I'm mad I ain't bring my pistol. Organic was there. He brought his pistol. You know what I mean? Then we left there. We went to Brooklyn. It was all good. But they was in there playing chess.
As shit. A little toy dog. Yeah, the little toy dog was white, cute, fluffy, loved it, right? But then he kind of clocked he looked like a little bitch on camera. So the next scene, he had to change dogs. Like, whoa, shit, I look like oh my God, I'm soft. Quick, bring me a wolf. Like, how insecure do you have to be? But I loved how they all changed. Like, their personalities completely changed. Like, I want women to go clean my room. Like, clean your own room, first of all. If the vacuum cleaner's not heavy, just fucking figure it out, right? I want women to clean my room. I'm in an open relationship. As soon as their wives, girlfriends, or mums were in the room, do you see them just to switch? Like, oh, yeah, I guess it'd be nice if you clean my room, and yeah, I don't mind being.
That's not what I.
What do you know? I don't watch this guy. I saw the first part of this video, and I'm like, I'm going to react to it because the other videos were crazy. It was crazy work. Taru's Fresh and Fit got into the what's that? Charlie Kirk organization had an event, and they didn't want to let them in, so they were guests of Rumble, and apparently, as the story goes, the people at the event didn't want to let Myron and Fresh in. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, and they didn't want to let them in because they were black. And Rumble had to come and fix everything, so they wound up getting in. It was Turning Point. Thanks. It was hilarious. Appreciate that, Cody. Yeah, Turning Points. It was hilarious. And Fresh was he was on social media talking about it, like, is this what racism look like? It's like, yeah, Fresh. It's exactly what racism looks like in America. Like, I guess y'all don't deal with that in Barbados, but up here in the U.S., man, this is an everyday thing. Again, so that's what happened, Tarus. Again, I don't know the details. I'm just basically telling you what was online. But let's keep going.
They tried to, one of the dudes, right? This guy right here, this guy right here. That's his girlfriend. They're not married, but she got 3. At
Man, why
first, he
gotta be-
said he didn't want her on in. Louis gets invited. He goes over his house and she's on camera, right? I believe that the reason why he didn't want her on camera was because he needed time to coach her. That's what it felt like. And when they were having their discussions, he was the one talking about like a one-way monogamous relationship, blah, 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 blah. And he said it in front of her, and then she was like echoing the thing and da, 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 da. Not all of them were doing what he's saying. Like, they didn't change their tone. He doubled down. I will 100% say.
He didn't have to coach his wife. He probably went and they talked about it as a family. Like, hey, these guys really want to talk to you. What people don't realize, when you're dealing with Hollywood types, you're dealing with producers, man, they are extremely aggressive, man. They won't stop. So they were in Miami. Justin was like, no, I'm not going to bring you around my wife and kids. I got a place in Brickell, and then I have my family out in Aventura. He's like, no, I'm not going to, do that. But what you're not going to see is behind the scenes is how they will get into social media. They'll talk to people. They'll get your number. Man, the producers will hound you. And the producers probably got a hold of his wife. And then his wife was probably went to Justin's like, I don't have a problem with it. If you want to bring him in, like, we have a great life. I don't care. It's all good. So then Justin told him, like, okay, it's okay if you want to meet my wife and my kids. We're not in Florida right now. We're in Louisiana. We're our place in Louisiana. So Justin has a place in Brickell, like a cheap condo, or if you're a cheap rental in Brickell right now is probably like a decent one, a cheap in a nice building. Man, you probably looking at $4,200 a month, right? Y'all can check my math if you want, but Brickell is not cheap. Like like if you could get into Brickell for $3,700 a month for like a studio or something like that, you doing it big. I think the cost is up there. Aventura is not cheap either. So he has a place in Aventura, he has a place in Brickell, and then they have their home in Louisiana. So Justin is doing all right. Right? Justin is doing good. And what I believe is he talked to his wife and she probably was like, okay, let's do it. Let's bring him out here. They can see this lifestyle. She's like, I don't care. Right? His wife was in the medical field. She said it. She's like, I was making tons of money. I forget exactly what she was doing in the medical field, but she was like some sort of tech in the medical field. And she's like, I'd rather do this. I'd rather be at home taking care of the house, taking care of my kids. Justin didn't have to coach her up. And again, these are people just projecting. The problem is these people will look at what's going on. They'll like talk to some regular folks who are in the space, red pill space, or whatever, men and women, and they'll realize like, oh, this isn't what I thought. It's not that bad. So this is just an opportunity. This is just a way that this guy right here, the public offender, is trying to project himself in this. The stuff he was saying about Angie, like, bro, you don't even know Angie. Like, you have no idea what type of woman she is. I do. Like, I'm just letting you know, bro. Louis Theroux had nothing to do with her making her move when she decided to leave Myron. That documentary had nothing to do with it. And now with Justin's, woman, like, he's not going to legally marry her, but for all intents and purposes, man, like, that's his significant other. That's the mother of his children. And it's like, oh, you got to go and coach these women up. Like, they're hiding it. This dude right here, the public offender, in his mind, he's like, there's no way a man is out here dealing with a woman who's going to allow these things to happen, who's going to sign up for this. And when in fact, it happens all the time. There are women out here. If you break into the 1%, you get into the 1% and talk to the women who are in the 1%. They'll tell you, like, yeah, of course that guy's doing this and that. Of course he has his women on the side. I don't care. Some of these women, they got their dudes on the side. Like, when you get to a certain level of financial success, the mindsets begin to shift. They change. Because there are women who got a lot to lose as well. These men got a lot to lose, and the women they deal with got a lot to lose. They don't want to mess up what they got going on. So it's just people to let things go down. Like, all right, that's cool. This is our agreement. So what I think happened is Justin and his wife sat down, talked about it, and she was like, yeah, bring him through. Because Justin had already said no. She's like, yeah, bring him through. So Louis Theroux came through there and still couldn't find what he was looking for. He was looking for the gotcha moment, looking for, hey, I'm going to pull the curtain back and look how fake these people are. He's sitting there and he can't believe, like, you talking to a woman, a professional woman who was making her own money, and she gave all that up to be with this guy. And yeah, I know he sleeps with other women and we share women. We sleep with, so we all get together and do it. That's works for us. And she said, like, it works for us. That's not going to work for you. That's fine. But that's how we get down. It works for us. So, I mean, it is what it is. I should reach out and do a show, try to do a show with Danica Marie. You think so? Love her personality and I think she gives a good insight into these problems. All right, I'll give it a shot. King Picks, I'll give it a shot. Appreciate you. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I guess it'd be nice if you cleaned my room, and yeah, I don't mind being in an open relationship. And then,
Oh, dude, you're so fucking full of shit. It's not hard to be a man. It's super easy. All you can do is be a good bloke, be nice to women. Fuck, how hard's that? And also, dads, this is why you hug your boys. Otherwise, you get this shit.
This is why you don't beat your boys. This is why you model good behaviors for your boys, and you don't, you don't lie to them about women. And when they say bad things about girls and women, you clock it, you check it, you call it out. This is why. This is what I was saying earlier in another video. This is, sadly, boys need men. I mean, you don't need a man. Like, in theory, you don't need a man to raise a boy to be what most men consider to be men. You can do that with a woman, no doubt about it. But if you want to raise a healthy man in this environment, in this society, unfortunately, you do need a man, because this is what I'm saying. And it don't gotta be a husband, by the way. I'm talking about a male role model. You need male figures, the more the merrier. But you need a man to say the same thing that a woman is saying, because the patriarchy, as insidious as it is, makes it virtually impossible for little boys to listen to women. And mothers know, like, mothers will tell you, I have spoken to countless women, and they'll be like, yeah, this is where my son is at now. Oh, he was such a sweet boy when he was 9, 10, 11, 12. Now he's in high school. I feel like I don't know what happened. We lost his way. He got on the internet. His peer group is influencing him. All the men in his neighborhood are influencing him. His uncles are influencing him. His grandpappy isn't, like, that's what happened. And the love of a mother, unfortunately, is really no match for the patriarchy. I'm sorry.
All right, so we see who, like this brother right here, we see who he's selling to, right? With his fan base. He said you don't need a man to raise a boy, and then he said you do need a man to raise a boy. And he's like, well, women can do it, but he twisted himself up into a pretzel. I'll be the first one to tell you, I can't teach my daughter how to be a woman. Can't do it. I'm not a woman. Can't do it. A gay man can't teach my daughter how to be a woman, because he's a man. You need a woman to teach your daughter how to be a woman. And when you talk to honest, genuine mothers, single moms, they'll tell you, I can't teach my son how to be a man. I can't. So then if she can get a healthy relationship, some sort of co-parenting situation with that child's father, because that's who he needs, especially if that's a good guy. We're going to go on the impression that he is a good guy because she had his baby. Allow him to come in and be there to help your young boy become a man. And if you don't have a good man, go find some good role models, your dad, your uncles, cousins, everything old boy was talking about. When you say, well, my child gets around 12, 13, 14, he starts to change. It happens before then. When your son gets taller and bigger than the mom, that's when it starts to change, because he thinks You need a dude that's gonna be a grown man. They's like, don't punch you need to hug your sons. Yeah, you need to hug them. But when they try to buck up, bro, you need to knock them down. You need to make sure that they know that you can do something to them physical. That's part of being a man. Just like this guy's twisting himself all the way up. This is why we have so many problems in society. It's why we got so many dudes out here crashing out, because they're so feminine. They don't know how to, they don't know how to contain their male emotions. They're acting like women, and we're seeing it play out. I mean, it is what it is. And we don't need, he just said, like, the problem with the blue pill is when you get into this sort of thing. Even the English guy that was like, oh, you don't need much to be a man. All you need to do is be good and do what's right and get you a good woman. Bro, you are high. How do you find a good woman? Like, you need to protect yourself. Like, if you have something, if you don't ain't got anything, man, go out there, do you. Go out there and have some fun. But if you have something, you're going to have to protect yourself, because the game has changed and the system is not the same. This is the front line when it comes to blue pill and red pill mentality. This is the front line. And then when dudes get wrecked, most of those dudes, they don't even blame the system. They sit around here, they cry, they lose everything, they get bitter. Then they come to the red pill and they bring all that bitterness. And we come across those dudes like, hey man, you did that to yourself, son. Going back to Akai Singh and Andrew Schultz, right? They had oh man, I just had his name, the lawyer, James Sexton. They had James Sexton on the podcast, and he was telling them, like, you guys have prenups, right? The whole show is about why you should get prenups. And Schultz and Akash was like, nope. Go watch that video. I tell all the guys, especially the blue pill dudes, watch that video. Watch that video. I hope that Akash situation, I hope he's able to rein it in. I hope it goes away. I hope that he and his wife could go on and have a healthy relationship. But it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen. And he's going to wind up losing half, if not 2/3 of his stuff. And that will be sad. That will be sad. But he should have taken steps. Like, bro, come on. You know that's not going to work. You in the comedy business. You see it up front as a comedian. I can't tell you how many times I've had women with long-term relationships or marriage, like got husbands at home trying to get it in. I'm sitting back and watch other comics smash like, yo, ain't she married? Yeah, her husband went to the hotel room. He's done. He drank too much. And she comes back to the club to holler at the comedian. And they in the parking lot getting it in. That's the game. It's always been the game. It's always been the game. It was in the movie Sinners when Preacher Boy was hollering at little shorty. You know what I'm saying? I got a husband. Like, I ain't asked about no husband. You coming to the juke joint tonight? He wound up smashing. That's the game, right? Understand that. You want to choose the woman who's not going to do that. Now, again, there's no guarantees. A lot of these guys in the red pill world looking for guarantees. There are no guarantees. You can do all these things that we say. You take all these precautions, and it still might go sideways. And that's, at some point, you got to take a leap of faith. That's part of it. And if you don't want to take a leap of faith, if you're not willing to do all that, then all right, that MGTOW sounds like the road for you. Become one of the men who are going their own way. I ain't mad at you, but I suggest guys get out here and try it at least once. Understand the game, try it. At some point, you got to take a leap of faith. You hope that your processes will make it successful. Like, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is, man. And Brother Michael, like his weave has, bro, you be killing me with that, but it's true though. And it's hard to get around that. I mean, today, it's when it comes to hair, especially with sisters and like all women now, they're all doing extensions and all that. It's just a style thing. I hope it'll pass. But yeah, this dude right here, man, this public offender, this is a guy who's preaching to women. He's telling them exactly what they want to hear. That's all that is. That's the pandering part. He's doing on the blue pill side what HS Tiki-Taki and what he's claiming Myron and Justin are doing on the red pill side. Like, we're all doing the same thing, trying to get views or whatnot. He's like, well, he could say, I'm not trying to sell anything. Okay, that's fine. But Justin really isn't pushing what he's selling. Like, he was pushing it hard with the tapes early on. But I mean, like I said, Justin never tried to sell me anything. Myron never tried to sell me anything. Fresh never tried to sell me anything. right? Brandon Carter. That's what Brandon Carter does. Fitness courses and all that. He teaches you how to do AI. Brandon Carter ain't never tried to sell me anything. Going back and forth on messages. I send him money to like super chats to ask him questions. He never like hit me up like, hey, join my group. Never. So yeah, there are guys out there trying to get money. Then there are other guys out there who are just trying to, you know, spread a message. Last good man in Jersey in the building. Was good, fam. So when I look at that, man, like, you know, when I look at this particular hit piece that's done by Louis Theroux, and I listen to the public offender, and there are people out there on the blue pill side that are way worse, right? But everyone's looking for what they're looking for. No one is really asking the real questions as to like why this is going on. Why is it the young men are running over here? No one, they can't seem to understand why the red pill manosphere space is growing. They can't understand this. One more video I want you guys to watch. If I can find it, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second, guys. There's one more video I want you guys to check out. If I can find it, I'm gonna have to go through my history. So if it's glitching a little bit, that's just because I'm doing all this stuff in the background. All right, here it is. This is Myron Gaines, but this is on toxically masculine clips. So this is just someone who puts this stuff out here. Going anywhere, and I want to show you guys what he was talking about. Just give me 1 second to find it. And these videos will be in the description below if you guys want to go back and watch them again. Give me 1 second. I can't seem to find it. Where is it? Where is it? I apologize for not having this read as. Oh, here it is. I got it right here. So why men are going to continue to come to the red pill. And, you know, this is some guy just kind of clipped up what Myron's doing on his Myron X videos. And like I said, I don't agree with Myron's politics at all. Like at all, guys. I don't agree with Myron's politics. Not even a little bit. But when it comes to the sexual marketplace, when it comes to dating today, like they're on top of it. Him and Fresh, man, they know what they're talking about, man. Like the whole thing, it's day and night, man. It's not even day and night when it comes to dating. It's another dimension. And it's crazy because, you know, as an old head, you know, I was in LA for a little bit. You know, I've been doing my thing forever. I travel a lot. I've never seen this sort of change, this sweeping change with the way things are done. And again, it has everything to do with technology. Like people ghosting you and all that kind of stuff, man. It's scary, to be honest with you. It's really scary how this game has changed. And the red pill guys, there are guys within the red pill, within the manosphere, they're like, hey, you guys need to look at this. Things have changed. This is how you move forward. Now, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And you look at like pickup artistry and all that, like, bro, you're going to need aspects of pickup artistry to break the ice or whatever. You're going to need to really work on your social game and have access to stuff. You're going to need to be able to have a bunch of beautiful women around you if you're trying to date today. Like you don't necessarily need an exotic car, but I mean, it'll help, but you can just be riding around in Uber Black. That's enough for some women. Like, oh, you know, he rides in Uber Black. It's just certain, like you got to have access to things. Like if you can get on a red carpet, if you can get on, you know, this yacht party, if you can get into this mansion party. These are the kind of things that, unfortunately, there's a lot of women out here who are in the scene, in the trenches. This is what they're wanting. Now, you know, and I look at this and I'm like, I'm not mad. Like, why wouldn't you want these nice experiences? You need to be able to provide these really elite experiences for women. Doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire. But if you are a millionaire, it helps. But if you're a millionaire and you don't understand these things and you run out here leading with your wallet, bro, there are people out there, women out there that are going to run your pockets. And it's not just women, but we're here to help guys learn how to date. There's, you know, these red pillars like HS Tiki-Taki will run your pockets if you let him. Right? You know, take your money and put it into, you know, my crypto scheme or put it into my investment thing or whatever, because he's getting money no matter what. And I don't have a problem with it. If someone wants to sell you a bridge and you come running back to me with a piece of paper talking about, look, I bought the bridge. Word? That's your contract on a piece of notebook paper? How much did you pay for that bridge, bro? Well, it was only like $2,000, man. I got a good deal. All right. But anyway, let's listen to this last bit, what Myron has to say, and then we'll wrap this up.
It's happening right now because, you know, the decrease in alcohol consumption isn't because, you know, dudes are like, want to get super healthy. That might be a part of it. But the real reason is that drinking alcohol for you as a man, a lot of times is going to be intimately tied to the pursuit of females. And since most women don't want most men and most guys struggle on the sexual marketplace, why are dudes going to be spending their time and energy and effort going to the club and just keep getting grift? Then on top of that, they're on YouTube. They're listening to niggas like us saying, yo, there's no point to go to the nightclub. Get your shit together. There's no point, right? So on one end, you have people like myself saying, yo, this is how women are. Get your sexual market value before you even bother going to the club. Then on top of that, like I'm telling you this on YouTube. And then on top of that, what I'm telling you is being affirmed by life experiences. Let me give you guys an example to really draw this.
Is he lying right now? We got some old heads in the building. We got some dudes who know what's going on with the game. Did Myron tell any lies in that first part right there? I don't believe he did. Yeah, it's some red pill content creators that will run your pockets, bro. They will. They will. If you let them, they will run your pockets. Fresh and Fit. A lot of people call them scammers or whatever. Like, yeah, they just, Fresh and Fit, whenever they put something out there, you're getting whatever it is they selling. If they were teaching you how to do they had this thing with something on demand, like they would teach you how to get your Instagram right so you can meet more women. You were paying for them to show you how to do that, and it worked. You got the product that you paid for. When they had parties, when they had a boat party, or if they had like an event, yeah, they charged a lot for those events. But if you pay for the event, you got exactly what they advertised. Right. So when I look at Fresh and Fit and what they're doing, I'm like, man, if they were grifters, they're pretty bad at grifting because they could have really got way more money. Fresh and Fit said no to money making opportunities more than they said yes. Right. Just wanted to get that out there. Are there grifters out there? Yeah. Myron and Fresh ain't the grifters you need to be worried about. HS Tiki-Taki and those other kind of people, you know, the crypto people, like the guys on Kick and all that. You know, what's the name of the white boy that just got out of jail? Like he got locked up in Miami for doing something stupid. He's been doing social media since he was like 12, like a real annoying white dude that wrecked his McLaren. What is that guy name? That kid will run your pockets if you let him. That's his own. That's all he knows. That's the guy that walks around trying to start fights and then he'll hide behind his bodyguard. What is that kid's name? Someone will put his name in the chat. But like that, there are dudes out there who will run your money. They'll run your pockets. Right? Yeah, Jack Doherty. Thank you. Thank you. Jack Doherty. He'll run your pockets if you let him. Right? That's the game. Right? They're always going to be bad actors. But Jack Doherty isn't part of the red pill space. Jack Doherty and HS Tiki-Taki, they're doing something completely different over there. They're over there doing some wildness. Right? They're not, you're not going to reach out to those dudes and find out like, how do I get a girlfriend? They're not in that space. But let's get back to what Myron is saying. Remember, dudes, look, nightclubs are falling off. That's a fact. Their nightclubs, like, you know, it ain't the same anymore. Dudes aren't drinking. That's another fact. Like alcohol use has gone down, way down. Dudes aren't drinking like that. Dudes aren't going out buying drinks for women like that. The whole thing has changed. Right? Dudes won't even show up to dating events. You got to pay dudes to you got to let the dudes in for free. You got to charge the women just to have dating events now. So what Myron is saying is 100% correct. But let's listen to why the red pill ain't going nowhere.
Right? In an imaginary world, let's say you're a blue pill normie, right? You're 20 years old, 6 years ago. You're just fresh out of high school. You got your high school sweetheart. Things are going well. But after you guys graduate high school, goes off to college. You beg her not to. You want to go with her, but you didn't get her over there. And through much pain and tribulation, you're unable to do it, right? She comes back for her first winter break, and you notice that she's distant. She isn't as into you as before. Now, all of a sudden, when you say, hey, I want to come visit you on campus, she has excuses. Now she has a new group of friends. You know it. She breaks up with you. There's a girl that you spent the last 3 or 4 years with, and she breaks up with you. You don't know what to do. You don't know what's going on. You feel like the world's going to end. You talk reluctantly agree. You go with them to the nightclub. You're approaching girls left and right, trying to hit on them, introduce yourself, and you notice a cold shoulder. None of them really engage with you in conversation. They look up at you for a second, they go back to their phone. As you try to start conversation with multiple women, they're getting pulled by their beluga whale friend. They're getting pulled into sections. You talk to 30 girls, strike out with every single one. You get 2 or 3 numbers, but you strike out with every other girl. You can feel like shit. You go, hey, I'm single now. You want to hang out? Oh, yeah, sure. You guys plan a date? She flakes. So within the span of a few weeks, you lose your girl, you strike out horribly at the nightclub, a girl that you thought you might have been able to court or get with flakes on you and doesn't even show up. Frustrated, you take to YouTube and type in, how do I get girls? It's at that moment that everything clicks. Oh, shit. Does this nigga know me? What's going on here? He just connected the dots about why I have all these problems with females. I've always thought this, but I couldn't say it. Holy shit, I'm not alone. You get addicted. You watch more of our shows. But let's, kind of peel this back. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm unapologetically describing to some degree your experience. That is why people watch this shit. This is why people care about what I got to say. Because I'm telling you guys stuff or preparing you guys for stuff that your father, your uncle, your brother won't. A lot of the times, whether it's by their ignorance or because they don't know how the sexual marketplace works now, things have changed significantly.
And that right there, that's the Don DeMarco. That's the reason. That's the reason young dudes and most men who fall into the red pill stay in the red pill world. They become red pill aware and they begin to move differently. Everything he said in that situation, you lose your girl, you go out, you can't make it, you don't know what's going on. Everything that he said in there happens. And then you come to the red pill and they'll teach you how to remedy that. And you go back to the same nightclub after about a few months of doing some work, you go back to the same nightclub and now you know, like, all right, in order for me to really even get the girls to really talk to me, I'm gonna have a section. So I learned through DL Saint and Michael Certain that I need to network my way into a section, throw fresh in there as well. Like, people, you're adding value and they say, all right, come through, man. Bring a couple females, man, and we'll get you up into a section. We'll comp you 1 bottle. Cool. You know what I mean? So you go in there like, all right, I got the bottle comped. I just need a couple pretty girls. Now, Myron and, Myron, those guys, Myron will say, you can't, you can't be friends with women, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with that. Michael Certain doesn't agree with that either. Like, I'm cool with a lot of beautiful women. So I'm gonna show up with 2 dimes, 1 on each arm. I'm on the list. I got a section. They're gonna walk me to the section. And the girls that I'm with are gonna call up their girls. So I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be me, maybe 4 girls. Mind you, first bottle was comped. Now I'm gonna bring in one of my homeboys that got money, but he ain't really good at, getting girls. He's gonna come, he's gonna buy 2 more bottles. So we need a bigger section. So we over there, we chilling, we in the section. All the women you talked to a few months ago, they sitting over there because they come to the club all the time. They sitting over there. They don't remember you, but they see you because you up in the VIP with beautiful women and you got a couple dudes, like 2 dudes and like 6 girls. They gonna want to come. And then you tell your homeboy because you're looking around because the Saint done told you how to search, how to look out there and see what's going on. Hey, man, you see her right there? Like, man, you think she cute? Man, she is cute. What about her friends? Who's with her? Oh, she got a couple other girls. They decent. They all right, cool. So we tell our drink attendant, like the bottle lady, our waitress basically, hey, do us a favor. See the girl over there in the purple dress and her 2 friends? And can you, bring them over to the section? She'll go right over there and get them. Who, them two right there? Like, yeah, it's three of them. Them three. Okay, good. They'll X-code them right into the VIP, put them at your section. Hey, how you doing? I'm so-and-so. This is so-and-so. They having a great time. Your dude getting on, he talking to some women he don't know. He feeling good, right? Like I said, he done bought a couple bottles. The bottle we started the night off with was comped. Your girls are having a good time. You know what I mean? That's how you got to move today. It's a lot of work. Right? It's a lot of work. But that's how you got to move today. Right? And they're gonna learn all this in the red pill world. And you do all that, and you get all these, and you start to get women to see you, you get to a point where you don't even want their phone number, you want their social media. Let me get your Instagram. So now, like the three girls you brought up, one of them is really attractive, and she's cool. So now, next time you come out, you're gonna have 3 beautiful women with you, right? And you know your guys gonna be like, "That's what's up. I got your bottle for you. Got your section." You rinse and repeat. You do the whole thing over and over and over again. It gets tiring, but if you want to date today, that's one of the ways to do it. There are other ways to do it. Like, there are tons of other ways to do it. I tell folks all the time, like going to the nightclub, you're not gonna find. You can find Miss right now. You know what I'm saying? You can find a woman for now. Like, you know what I mean? She ain't Miss Right, but she's Miss Right now. You're gonna find that in the club. You want to go have some fun or whatever, that's cool. Right? That's cool. But if you're trying to find someone to start a life with, you got to go different places, bro. Now you're gonna have to go, maybe go to the hottest little yoga joint in town. You're gonna have to go, maybe do a wine tasting somewhere. You're gonna have to, maybe join some group, like maybe join some kickball team, a bowling league. You're gonna have to do other things to find. That doesn't mean that these women that you're gonna bump into doing these other things aren't the same women who go to the club. But a lot of these women, they go dancing, like go like salsa night, tango night, go country line dancing, like just try different things, do the swing thing, like back, the swing music. I ain't talking about the wild sex stuff. I'm talking about the swing music thing. When people dance like the 1940s music, like swing music, like learn how to do that. You're gonna meet different people. Sign up to take some acting course. You're gonna start meeting different women. Again, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna meet the 304s in there. They're gonna be in there too. But you're gonna learn how to filter through and find like the cool women. You're gonna find the ones, right? When you start meeting women and you get their social media, like let me get your Instagram and it's private, you're on the right track. Like, okay, that's one you want to talk to right there. Private, that's a green flag. Oh, you gotta wait for her to approve it. And then you see like, oh, that's private. Then you look at her pictures and you see who's in there, like just her family and close friends and stuff like that. Like, okay, this is a woman I might want to try to get to know. Now you can invite her out for ice cream. And guess what? She'll say, yeah. Hey, would you like to go out for some coffee? Like, go out some ice cream? I know this cool little ice cream joint. Yeah. Yeah, let's go get some ice cream. Right? Another green flag. That's what's up. Now you get to know her. And then you spend some time getting to know her. Y'all texting back and forth. Y'all calling. Y'all, seeing each other at the event, be it bowling or roller skating or dance, wherever it is. Y'all seeing each other. It's cool. Now you're like, she's a good person. You know what? I would like to take you out. Like, really? Can I take you to dinner? I know a cool little cafe, or maybe not a cafe, but I know a nice little bistro. I know a nice little place that just opened up, whatever. You take her somewhere nice, it's reasonable, not some high-end place that everyone knows about, but a really cool family-owned or whatever, like out-of-the-way kind of spot, maybe an Italian joint, and the family that runs it, and you go in there, it's like an amazing meal. Cool. You're setting the standard. She's going to like that, right? You're not telling her about your stuff. You're not telling her you own a nice condo. You're not telling her you drive a Alpina or you drive a AMG, BMW or Mercedes. You're not telling her these things. She discovers it on her own. And discovery trumps disclosure all the time. These are the things that are talked about in the manosphere world, in the red pill world. These are the things these are conversations the guys are having. That's what it is. Right? And then you start to have a relationship and you start to see that, man, she's a really good cool. Who's she hanging out with? None of her friends go out. You don't know any of her girls. Like you meet her girls, like I ain't seen none of these girls. And you know, why do you know? Because you in all the spots. You out here socializing. You out here networking. They don't know anybody you know. Another green flag. Like, yo, she might be the one I want to holler at. And you begin your vetting process and then you step things up. And you know what I mean? It's certain things that you learn over there in the manosphere that can really help you. There's a lot of garbage over there too. There's a lot of stuff that can hurt you. And most of the dudes in the manosphere space, they think they want to be players. They think they want to go out here and smash a bunch of women. But what they really want is one woman. One woman. So, yeah, and yeah, Scam know all about that salsa, bro. You know what I mean? There's so much about that world out there, y'all. There's so much about that world. And the manosphere, the red pill world is a space where men can come and learn these things that they wouldn't, their dad don't know. Their dad ain't out here and out here trying to holler at nobody. Right? These dads ain't out here. They don't know what's going on. I'm in my 50s. I'm in my mid 50s, bro. We ain't have to deal with social media. You want to talk about a game changer? Jeez, bro, like a real game changer. We didn't have to deal with that. A lot of these guys, man, these old heads, man, they can't tell you what it's like out here. I mean, you know, not tell, like, man, it's a lot of girls, these young girls out here, man, they own one. And it's fine. I mean, some of them are just experimenting. They're trying to figure out themselves too. So you got to be able to decipher. Like, is this girl really out here? She wild like that? Or she just out here, she fell in with the wrong crowd. She just kind of going with the flow and it's leading to this. Right? Then you got those, you got those red pill dudes that be like, oh man, she ain't a virgin, man. She a 304 forever. Like the stuff that Myron was saying. Myron will say a lot about women, like, oh, they're all, like they're all 304s. And I don't agree with that. But I get where he's coming from with that. I get where he's coming from. And if you work on the premise that they're all 304s and it's your job to qualify her as a good woman, okay, I can see that. If that's what you're doing. But I don't look at it as a negative thing. I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna do my due diligence. I'm gonna put her through the trial. And if she makes it through selection, then cool, we can go from there. But the one thing that I drive home to all these guys is like, bro, keep your emotions in check. Do not allow yourself to fall in love with a woman you haven't vetted. Because if you do, you wind up like Akash Singh. You know what I mean? Yeah, dudes definitely need to dance more. Man, you want to talk about a power move? When I'm out and about, even in a lounge situation, we're listening to music or whatever, and it's a woman what you guys, the young kids say vibing on. Man, I get her dancing. I get her moving a little bit. Now, what's the first thing she does? The first thing all these young girls do, they turn around and they put their butt on you. They start twerking. You got to stop them. Like, hold on. Don't do that, love. Turn around. I mean, I know you got a nice body. I'm not drawn to your butt like that, baby. I want to move with you. Don't you feel the music? And now you got her moving and you're showing her how to dance. If you can show women something, if you can teach them something, they find that attractive, man. Again, another red pill talking point. Teach her some things. And she's like, how did you learn that? Like, oh, I be going to this little salsa joint on Thursdays. I want to go. All right. What's your number? Like, matter of fact, give me your Instagram. She take your phone, put the Instagram in there. And it's like, boom, it's public. Oh man, it's public Instagram. Then you start going through the pictures and there she is in her bikini and all that, thirst trapping, got on the tight stuff. Like, all right, maybe I will let her twerk on me. Maybe I will just go ahead and smash. You know what I mean? But now you know the difference. You know how to begin to look for these things, right? So I'm going to end it there, guys. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Brother Ian, man, I appreciate the $20 super sticker, man. I appreciate y'all. If you're watching this on Team Replay, man, let me know what you think. Was the Louis Theroux documentary Inside the Manosphere, do you think that was a real documentary or do you think that was a hit piece? Do you think that was more propaganda than informative information? Like, and if you believe that was a real documentary, what was his purpose of that particular documentary? If please leave that for me in the comments below. I'm curious. I want to hear, like, what was his purpose? Right. And then I would challenge you guys, especially you blue pill guys who are watching, to watch the Red Pill documentary. Cassie Jane did that. That's a great piece of work. A real documentary. A real documentary. Now, you don't have to agree with it, but man, she put it out there. So the Red Pill documentary, check that out, guys. You know, the Red Pill dudes, we know what that is. For you blue pill people out there, those people on the fence, check that out. Compare the Red Pill documentary to what Louis Theroux did in this Inside the Manosphere. And then you tell me, you know, if that was a hard-hitting documentary talking about Louis Theroux, or was that a hit piece? So I did say I was gonna end with Lost in Translation. So let me pull up one of his tracks. And he actually has some good stuff coming in. Lost in Translation. Has me this real quick. We'll ride out on one of his tracks, like we like to do. I always support my folks. Learn how to type. Sitting here, getting on my daughter, like telling my daughter, you should learn. Sorry about the glitching, guys. I'm just trying to find. Found it. So we're gonna ride out with one of his tracks. It's gonna glitch a little bit, and I do apologize. But I just want to do that, controlling the monster. But then that's I was like, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Like, what kind of music video is that? We're gonna leave with over here. We already did that song. Take the Long Way Home. We're gonna end with this. Take the Long Way Home. And I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. I really do. I will say this last little bit. I will say this. I am pleased to see that mainstream media is at least allowing a conversation about the red pill, even if it is a biased, hit piece type thing, but it's going to bring more awareness to the manosphere, and people are going to dig in there and they're going to find, good content creators like Rich Cooper, Michael Certain, Dr. Ryan Taraban, and so on. There are some good actors like this. Stay Slick with Kit coming out of London, UK, brother. And he's working with women, but he's definitely red pill. So that is a good thing. And like I said before, I've been screaming this for years now. I'm like, from the very beginning, like, hey man, red pill is going to become mainstream. And now it's here. Red pill is definitely mainstream. And it's just a matter of time before people accept and begin to acknowledge and try to help young boys and men. It's coming. So we're going to ride out with this, guys. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me. I'm DL Saint. This is Take the Long Way Home by Lost in Translation podcast. Check it out.
Sunday sun, laying gold on the pavement. Your hand in mine, got the whole world patient. Street cafe coffee getting cold on the table. But girl, I ain't leaving long as you're able. Let's walk past the river down by Jackson Square. Catch a train to nowhere just because it's there. Maybe wander downtown where the saxmen play. Or take the old park trail and just fade away. Take the long way home. Girl, the day ain't gone. Baby, let's get lost on Magnolia Street. Find a little record shop playing old school beats. DJ scratching love in the summertime air. And the whole wide world can wait right there. Take a long way home tonight. Let the sunset paint the sky. We can ride through Harlem lights. Or Chicago by the lake. Anywhere your heart might lead. Girl, that's the road we'll take. Take a long way. Take the long way. Don't let this Sunday fade away. Now the evening breeze got your hair slow dancing, street light glow got the whole night glancing. Couples passing by, moving side to side, but nobody got this kind of ride. Baby, drive through Memphis where the blue notes cry, or the latest strip on the desert skies. May the Malibu waves when the mood hangs low on a back road highway nobody knows. Take the long way home. Girl, tonight ain't gone. Let's be lost, still hopping on a rooftop high, ceiling lights flickering in your eyes. D-Day spinning love on a midnight groove, and the whole world sways when you move. Take the long way home tonight. Let the skylights testify. We can ride through Texas plains or where California oceanside. Maybe drift through Georgia pines or Manhattan midnight glow. Anywhere your heart might shine, girl, that's the road we'll go. Take the long way. Take the long way. Don't let this Sunday fade away. If tomorrow comes too fast, let tonight forever last. Every road we wander through feels like heaven next to you. Let's get lost in Paris rain. Cafe lights on these drums echoing from the hill below. Tokyo neon after dark. Neon washing out the stars. Anywhere you leave your mark, heaven doesn't travel far. Take the long way. Take the long way home tonight. Let forever start right here. We can ride through silver skies where the stars are leaving here. Maybe Venice midnight tides or Jamaica ocean breeze. Anywhere you want to ride, girl, that's where I'll always be. Take the long way. Take the long way. Don't let this Sunday fade away. Take the long way. Take the long way. Take the long way. Baby, let the moment stay. Take the long way. Take the long way. Take the long way home.
Yo, that was Lost in Translation, guys. His link is in the description, man. Please go support this brother. Man, I just play his music in the background when I'm just doing my thing, man. It keeps me calm. Real music done by a real artist. Telling y'all, man, check him out. Go over there, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, man. And we're going to have him on the platform. Yeah, he got some dope ass songs for sure. We're gonna have him on the platform, man. We're just working out it's really me. He's like, I'm ready, brother. So I'm gonna bring him on and interview him so you guys can see what he's doing and see what he's about. That brother right there is gonna be big, man. He is gonna be big in the in that space where live musicals and the gospel world, like contemporary space, man. He's gonna be mega. It's gonna be mega. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me, man. I'm DL Saint. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm gonna see y'all soon.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks for watching. Really appreciate your support. And if you like that video, check out this one or maybe that one. We'll see you around. Peace.